championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Jimmy throws a quest. He wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Is this thing on, Mark Dykton?
It's on.
Key card worked. Fob worked. I guess we have two now.
Yeah.
Kind of forgot. Key card and fob. We're back downtown.
You drove to the right place? You didn't start going the wrong way?
I thought for a brief second when I turned left out of my house instead of right, it was a little foreign. But here we are in studio, and that's where we will be now moving forward. Colts camp going to continue at Grand Park, but our show will get back in studio. So for the first time in the week, we do see Mark Dykton. Good Wednesday morning? I don't know, James. I get into training camp and the days I have no idea which day's which.
We've made it, brother. Back to the studio. The three amigos together again.
Off day from Westfield for the Colts. Night practice coming up tomorrow. That is 8 to 10 p.m. They will be off on Friday. A couple morning practices Saturday and Sunday. And on this Wednesday morning, we will hear from one Daniel Jones. Mark, I was thinking about this on the drive in. When's the last time you think our show had the Colts starting quarterback on it?
Boy, it's been a while, yeah. And that's not just for our show. I think that's for all shows. But, yeah, our show, I venture to guess we've never had the starting quarterback on.
Yeah, I mean, I say that in all seriousness. I don't really remember the last time. I enjoyed the combo with Daniel Jones yesterday. James, he is certainly not one that is just going to offer up whatever, headline, answers like none other. But, I was struck by a few of his answers, and he definitely cracked a smile or two and maybe a laugh or two with us. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. We'll play that upcoming here in a little bit in the 7 o'clock hour. And really, thank you to the Colts PR team for the variety of guests we've had on here over the last week plus. Really like the conversations that we were able to provide for you. It's been fun, throwing some videos as well, either on the show, but also up on our YouTube page, 107.5 The Fan. So I will certainly miss being out there and having that sort of access, but I guess we go out with a nice bang, right?
Yes, I thought Daniel was a little more unguarded, which was good for our purposes. Having that rapport, I think, over the last year plus, Kevin, probably helps a little bit. And he himself probably feels more comfortable in this environment, given the circumstances. He is looked at as a franchise pillar. He's somebody who had a pretty good season last year before he got hurt. So there is some optimism there that as long as he stays healthy this year, the Colts will have another season with a good quarterback, perhaps a little better than that. Because when he was not injured, Kevin, I know he had kind of tapered off in the Pittsburgh game last year, but before that, he was playing very good football and arguably, in my opinion, at a Pro Bowl level.
So practice number 7, the Colts will actually reach their midway point, I guess, today, if you want to get technical. It's kind of their midway point at Grand Park. So 6 down, 7 to go. Number 7 will be tomorrow night. It is practice number 1 down in Bloomington. Kurt Cignetti will meet the media coming up today, and the news with Indiana continues. They seem to be a beneficiary out of this new, and I guess for the current state, the allowance of players that just recently graduated to explore a 5th year, now that it's going to be the 5 for 5 years to play 5 different, 5 for 5. I don't know what's the easiest way to say that. You have 5 years to play 5 years?
Yeah, I think it's literally 5 and 5.
So some of these recent graduates we have seen explore that. Sam Alexis on the basketball side seems to be doing it. And yesterday, and this one looked a little different because it looked like Indiana's football program mentioned that Stephen Daly is going to be back, assuming that this continues to go through. And for those that don't remember Stephen Daly, he was a menace on that defensive line last season. He led the Big Ten in tackles for loss. And frankly, just a scene from a movie. He got hurt celebrating the Big Ten championship, trying to kind of climb into the stands there at Lucas Oil Stadium. So did not play in any of the playoff games. But the reports are that he has been cleared. And again, under this current state, he is among the players because he did not pursue an NFL career given his injury. that he now could and is going back to Indiana to play a 5th year. So Zach Osterman going to join us coming up at 8:40. A lot right now with Indiana. And honestly, a lot of it looks like positive roster reinforcements here. And so a lot to get to when Zach joins us coming up at 8:40.
Yeah, KB, I can already hear the whining and complaining, to use a line from Kurt Signetti from Big Ten Media Days about people who get upset that they're using a player like Stephen Daly, who's older, to help their roster. But in my opinion, the rules are the rules. And as long as you abide by the rules, then I don't necessarily get mad at the team doing this stuff or the player doing this stuff. It's the institutions and perhaps some of these injunctions that you see that allow this stuff to happen. I can't fault the player for saying, hey, that 5th year is going to be good for my bank account and also for my resume going to the NFL versus how things were in the past. But I do wonder, again, just how much this type of stuff will change what we see in the future. And also, from what I understand, Kevin, is the 5 for 5, it starts with that 2022 class, which is why these players can come back. Now, going forward, it won't be such a perhaps newsworthy thing if somebody goes back. Do I have that correct?
Well, going forward, everybody will be under the same umbrella. You have 5 for 5.
Right. I'm saying, like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. Basically, the reason why this is kind of newsworthy is you're kind of waiting to see who from that class decides to use that 5th year.
Yeah, and again, these aren't COVID years, just to be clear on that. I
I know
we had
new rule,
several years there where we seemingly still had guys benefiting, guys and gals benefiting from the COVID year. This is not that at all. Indiana's simply playing by the rules. My frustration with all of this is, James, the rules on Wednesday are different than the rules on Tuesday.
No, I agree with you on that.
That's, I think, the frustration with this of like, again, where are we getting clarity? And is this just simply, hey, find the right judge?
I do think it is that.
I mean,
seriously.
I hate to put it that like elementary, but it does sound like that here. So a lot to get to with Zach Osterman. Again, we'll obviously play the Daniel Jones interview for you yesterday at Colts practice. Another day in full pads. It went for about 90 minutes. Your grand takeaway from our final morning show up at Grand Park.
I thought Daniel Jones looked pretty good pushing the ball down the field. Probably one of his more sharp days, Kevin. And I thought the D-line actually had a pretty good day. I know we often look at the quarterback and was the pass completed, but I would venture to say, Kevin, a few of those passes that Daniel Jones got off, and I say that in air quotes, were probably sacks in air quotes. That's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say as much the D-line as blitzing got home on those 2 Jones plays.
Yeah.
Bryce Betcher and A.J. Halsey were 2 of them. And again, we can get into this because I think it's one of the difficult things about training camp is, yes, Daniel Jones, you are right. I mean, I thought it was his most vertical passing day of camp, easily. I thought, if I could steal a C.J. Stroud phrase, I thought ball placement specialist was on full display from Daniel Jones. I thought he was outstanding yesterday with his accuracy. But we should note, 2 of the 4 real deep balls he connected on, Betcher and Halsey easily had sacks.
Yeah.
And just simply tagged him. So again, Jones is taught, and the defenders are taught, don't touch him any more than a gentle tag. And then Jones is taught to continue to play. So that is just a little bit of the difficulty of training camp of, is Daniel Jones hanging in there and delivering that ball if, he knows full well that blindside hit could have been, A, a sack, and B, potentially more there. But yeah, he's just so accurate down the field. And I thought the Tyler Warren catch, he went high with Cam Bynum right there.
Yeah.
Made a great snag on it. We'll see about the health of Laquan Treadwell. He had one of the deep balls, but he got banged up late in practice. And James, like right now, Laquan Treadwell is like knocking on the door for like serious playing time.
Yeah.
So now we're into week 2 with Alec Pierce out. Do these things start to add up? The Colts have been very quiet with their roster moves here. And honestly, they've been relatively healthy through the first week plus of camp. So we'll get to that. Sauce Gardner did miss yesterday due to illness. So, obviously that is a key part to the Colts pass defense. And right now, James, I think there's a clear leader at kicker, and it's the man I talked about a lot yesterday, the strutting ability of one Blake Grupe. Conor McGregor meets Tiger Woods. That's him strutting.
Well, I know Schrader had his day to kick yesterday, Kevin, and Did he miss 2 or 3? I think it was
2.
2.
Yeah, I had him missing from like 45 and 57, both left.
Yeah.
Which Brian Mason, social teams coordinator after practice, mentioned that they've noticed that his misses here this offseason have been left. They feel like they have, some sort of technique that needs to be figured out. And again, he's the one coming back from serious injury.
Right.
So if you go back to the spring, we've seen them kick in 3-team periods. I believe now Schrader's missed 5 and Groupies missed 0.
Yeah.
I'm no math major, but Blake Groupie's your leader here on August 5th.
I would agree there. I would also argue that your leader when it comes to your backup running back spot is Seth McGowan. And I know he's been competing with DJ Giddens for that backup role. Giddens missed practice recently, KB. I want to say it might have been a hamstring for him as well. And Seth has been getting some high praise from his peers and also from Shane Steichen himself with his north-south running style, which means he just gets downhill. He's not going to give you a whole lot of wiggle and flair, but big back, plays like it. And I thought he kind of popped when the pads came on.
We will get to Jonathan Taylor's reaction to one Bijan Robinson signing that massive extension that actually happened during our show yesterday. Still a day away from the Indiana Fever back on the floor. They will have the Las Vegas Aces coming up tomorrow night. They are a slight favorite in that one. We do have a coaches poll out for college football. You obviously get some in-state flavor in the top 10 of that one. Sounds like Purdue's got a new athletic director. We can hit on that as well here on this Wednesday morning. And Mark Dykton, just great to see your face, man.
Oh, you really mean that?
Yeah, I do. Seriously.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, it's great to see you guys. These pants are a bit, not used to being worn lately, so big adjustments over here for me.
So it was a ghost town for you the last couple of days here during the show.
I had the mood lighting going, some Marvin Gaye playing.
Do you miss us when we're out there?
I do, because it's just me in here. It's like, where's my friends? Where's my buddies?
Look at us getting all sentimental here on this Wednesday morning.
Kevin's talking about housing a bunch of fettuccine Alfredo out in Westfield. James is doing the young jock. I feel.
Was
missed.
I not doing the young jock?
Dang,
You
dang.
were, but I tweeted that video out, and I would say we went out with a bang at Westfield.
Yeah, and I would say I had the definition of rhythm.
Well, sure.
Hashtag rhythm.
Hashtag rhythm there.
Dad
on the young
rhythm.
jock video. Us three, we're back together in studio again, downtown Indianapolis, where we are at. Our conversation with Daniel Jones. We'll play that coming up in about 20 minutes or so. It's a busy time in Bloomington with football practice underway. Some news, both football and basketball. Zach Osterman at 8:40, and we're recapping what was, I think, probably the longest definitely longest full pad of practice the Colts have had so far of training camp and getting you set for tomorrow's night practice up there in Westfield. Good Wednesday morning to you. Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Checked Out. Brought to you by Bet365 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Daniel Jones going to join the Fan Morning Show here in about 15 minutes or so. So looking forward to sharing that combo with you all. We are back in studio. It's an off day from the Droplight Grand Park campus in Westfield. James, yesterday was day 6. It was another full padded practice. What did you observe yesterday that stood out in your mind?
I thought Daniel Jones really pushed the ball down the field. Looked like he had some juice in that arm and really in his lower legs, which is what we're most focused on when it comes to his Achilles. So that was a positive sign there. I did like what I saw from the blitz packages you mentioned earlier, KB, and also the D-line. And I'm not just talking about the first D-line unit, but I thought Jalen Tuimoloau and Caden Curry and George Gumps and a few others had some nice reps out there. I'm not saying that those guys will be starters, but hey, I do expect them to be rotated in at some point throughout the season.
Again, off day today, night practice tomorrow. That is 8 to 10 p.m. If it follows the same sort of cadence of last year's night practice, you're going to get pretty darn competitive, honestly. About the closest thing to a scrimmage that you're going to see in the NFL training camp, intra-squad scrimmage, that is. Shane Steichen was pretty adamant about calling plays last year. Remember, he had the megaphone out. He was
did.
like so into it, and
It felt like we were in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, there was like a little point system involved, everything. So I assume they'll mimic that again coming up tomorrow night, and that's it until Saturday and Sunday. Morning practices Saturday and Sunday, and then they are off to Foxborough coming up next week. Speaking of Colts, speaking of Foxborough, Adam Vinatieri into the Hall of Fame this weekend, right?
Yes, and rightfully so. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, but once you get in, it doesn't say how you got in. He's definitely the greatest kicker in my eyes of all time.
Typically, they start those activities and celebrations tomorrow up in Canton, so I think you'll see some of that.
Well, so first game tomorrow, right?
Underway.
The NFL season?
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Was it Cardinals Panthers?
Yes.
Right. Larry Fitzgerald and Luke Kuechly.
Yes, I believe you are correct.
Among the class, Drew Brees, of course, one of the headliners there. So yes, we will get underway tomorrow in a game that we all watch, and then I feel like after 5 minutes, everyone turns it off. Tomorrow night, if you are out there, or if you're not out there, I should say, in Westfield, the Indiana Fever are back in action. They've got the Las Vegas Aces yesterday. Caitlin Clark named Player of the Week. This is back-to-back for her, right?
Yes, and well-deserved. She's been on an absolute tear as of late, and they have a huge game coming up tomorrow against the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. Asia Wilson, I would say, is probably the front runner for her fifth MVP. No other player in the WNBA has even won 4 before, so she's going for a 5th. But I think that this is another test for the Fever to say, okay, we're contenders too.
25, 9, and 5 is what Caitlin Clark averaged last week there.
Just absurd.
And I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. Didn't Kelsey Mitchell win it 2 weeks ago? So have they gone 3 straight weeks?
I think so. And that just speaks to the talent in their backcourt and how dynamic both players have been this season.
So, again, that's a 7 o'clock tip over at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Major League Baseball yesterday. The trade deadline is coming on. First off, how about the Indianapolis Indians? 14-1. Mark, you guys don't even have a AAA team? 14-1 over your Iowa Cubs.
I think we traded them all at the deadline.
Whew. Man. Reds over the Athletics, 5-4. Cubs over Mr. Scooble?
Spoiled the debut. I'm chalking up because Cookie Monster sang the 7th inning stretch.
Oh, say
we
no
will
more.
always remember the Cookie Monster game. Taking the first 2 of the series against the Dodgers. Let's go for the sweep today. Good start for the Cubs post-trade deadline.
Gosh, say no more. If I'd known that, I would have bet the mortgage on the Cubs
I know.
yesterday. You should have told me Cookie Monster on the 1s and 2s.
I know.
Me doing Young Jock yesterday and Cookie Monster singing. Life is good.
He's eating cookies in the press box all over Boog Shambi. It was great.
This from Aaron. When I saw Kevin dancing yesterday, I uttered the phrase, bless his heart. Do we take it as a compliment?
I don't know. I feel like whenever I got the bless his heart, they were like, he tried.
That's something my grandma would have said to me back in the day.
I know. And that's usually when grandma's just trying to be nice.
It's usually like they pat you on the head and like, okay, go sit in the corner now. You're done now.
We have a coaches poll out for college football. I saw this stat. I thought it was kind of interesting. For the first time since 2015, a Big Ten team is your preseason number 1 team. That would be Ohio State. I guess a Big Ten team is number 2 as well. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame. That is your top 5. 6 through 10, Indiana, Miami, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. For those keeping track at home, the SEC has 7 of the top 11 teams in the preseason poll. Ohio State received 38 first-place votes. I kind of found this interesting. You had several teams getting first-place votes there in the top 5, but the team that actually got the second most first-place votes was 6th-ranked Indiana. So
Wow.
clearly, there is a chunk of coaches out there that probably believes in A, Kurt Cignetti, or B, they're the defending champs.
Yeah.
It's not like, yes, they lost. I think they're the first team listed that's not returning their quarterback. I believe all those teams in the top 5 do return their quarterback.
Yeah, which makes sense for the drop.
Right. But, obviously there are some that say, hey, they are the defending champs. So, yeah, they got 14 first-place votes there, which was more than Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame. Their first practice coming up today. Again, Zach Osterman going to join us to talk about a whole lot. Sounds like Purdue's got a new athletic director in Tommy McClellan, comes from Rice. Before that, the deputy AD at Vanderbilt. Deputy AD, which is easy for me to say. That sounds like important.
Very important. I don't think I've been the deputy of anything in my life.
No. So he's going to have to raise a whole lot of money and figure out what he's doing with that football program?
There you have it.
Let Matt Painter do his thing?
Yeah, Matt Painter, he can probably just sign a lifetime contract. He's okay. The football is where the issues lie.
Sounds like he was part of raising a lot of money at Vanderbilt. They hired Clark Lee a few years ago. I don't know if that overlapped with his time there, but Clark Lee's been a very good hire for Vanderbilt, and they honestly have been, I would say, probably one of the surprise teams in the SEC over the last couple of years. IndyCar back out on the track. That is Portland for them. They start a fury of a close here to the IndyCar season over the next month. All right, coming up on the other side, our interview with Daniel Jones. We caught up with the Colts quarterback yesterday after practice, and we will play that for you coming up next here. It is the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton. We're back in studio. Colts off day. We've got you covered here from 7 to 10 a.m. Daniel Jones, that conversation, playing it next.
Today we're going to have mostly sunny skies, and it will be slightly more humid with a high near 86 degrees. Tonight, increase in cloud cover with a chance for spotty showers and a low near 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. Northwest side, that would be building number 2. Darren Andrews and his, that would be at the Pyramids, building number 2. Darren Andrews and his staff are ready to answer the questions that you have. A free evaluation, a private evaluation, a virtual evaluation. All of that is available to you at We Grow Hair Indy. Again, they are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. I could not endorse enough. You just getting answers to the questions that you might have. And then from there, you can make what is certainly a big decision off of that. One of the questions I had, hey, what would the recovery process look like? I had to sleep upright for a few days, but outside of that, not too bad at all. I had it done on a Friday, back at work on Monday, and actually went on a buddy's trip that very next weekend. So, again, that's a question I have. You probably have others. So contact them. Free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation. It's We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. Andy Moore Group Campus in Avon. One-stop shop for 4 different brands: Kia, Volkswagen, Nissan, and the Toyota dealer. I believe that's the first one, if I'm remembering correctly, out there of the 4 brands. If you're coming out from Indianapolis, that is. Again, Rockville Road, always the place to be, right off of Rockville Road. Shout out to Ben, the GM there at the Toyota dealer. They are strong in the hybrid model, Camry and RAV4. I was chatting with him earlier this summer. Best inventory they've had in years, said the most new models they've had in over 3 years. So, again, strong inventory on site. To me, that is absolutely paramount when you're doing some car shopping, among other things. You want to compare, contrast different brands. And, again, you can do that at the Andy Moore Group campus because there's 4 different brands on that campus. It is Toyota, it's Nissan, it's Kia, it's Volkswagen. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you, the Andy Moore Group campus in Avon.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
A good Wednesday morning to you. We are done with our morning shows from Westfield. We will be back up there, though, tomorrow night. It is the lone legit night practice of Colts camp, 8 to 10 p.m. They bring in the lights for that fireworks show, right? After practice?
Yes, and last year they also had a drone show. I'm always amazed by the drones. I'm just like, how did you invent this? How did you coordinate this? Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, the gun show every time you guys are out there, right? Just popping the biceps for everybody, showing off. Like, we're radio hosts, but we can get it done. Quentin Nelson, come over here.
Yeah, I don't think Quentin Nelson has ever had that reaction when he's looked at me.
I was going to say, Mark, that's news to me. That's the first time anyone's ever said that. They just said that I had great rhythm doing the young jock.
The guy that just housed a donut and some Powerade.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
Well, no, usually they tell me that I look taller or sound taller on the radio. They tell Kevin he sounds like he's about 5'3".
How do you sound taller?
No, I trust me, that confuses
I'm
me.
joking, but they do tell Kevin, at least I've heard it, they think that you're shorter.
Right. I have a 5'8"
I
voice.
sound like I'm 5'9" or 5'10", whatever I am.
Our convo with Daniel Jones. We'll play that upcoming here for you in a few minutes. We caught up with the Colts quarterback after practice yesterday. You referenced maybe he was late to dinner, and he was a little caught off guard.
Yeah.
By him being late to dinner. So I feel like there were a few chuckles out of Daniel Jones.
Yeah. I don't know if I explained that super well throughout our interview with him, but the running joke last year during the Colts or in the Colts locker room was that Daniel was always late to the team dinners every week.
Thursday night dinners? Right?
Yes, Thursday night dinners because he was breaking down film. And so I did get a chance to follow up about that in our sit down with QB1.
We will get to that. A couple other items from practice I want to make sure we hit on here, especially throughout the 8 o'clock hour. I enjoyed. I went back and listened to.
Hoosier saying I sound like I'm 4'9". All right, relax, relax. Give me at least a 5'8" or something, man. Come on, 4'9". Jeez, I'm Simone Biles height. But continue.
I went back and listened to Cam Bynum with Jake, and I thought Cam was really enlightening about potentially being the communicator of this defense. And again, yesterday we saw that for a second straight day. They're rotating a ton at linebacker right now. And so Cam Bynum is the guy that's kind of taken on those duties. And based off what Cam said, I think he kind of expects to be the one doing it during the season. He's never done it in his NFL career, but we have seen Louis Anarumo have a safety do it before. So I think that'll be interesting to chat with him about. And yesterday was certainly the most vertical we have seen from the passing offense here in camp. So I want to make sure we hit on that. And then anything that, James, you took away from Jonathan Taylor in regards to the Bijan Robinson combo. To me, that domino needed to fall in order for Taylor's contract to get some more defined parameters around it. I get that Robinson is not, exactly Taylor. It's his first extension. He's younger than Taylor. He was a first-round pick, et cetera, et cetera. But still, you see this oftentimes with position groups in terms of contracts. The top of the position group needs to start to play out before other guys below him start to kind of slot in to certain values here. So we'll get to that Jonathan Taylor thought as well. All right, Mark, let's cue this up. Again, our conversation yesterday after practice with Daniel Jones. All right, welcome back. Our final interview here at Grand Park, Droplight Grand Park, Westfield, Indiana, day 2 in full pads. The quarterback joins us right now, QB1. Although, now that I say quarterback, after watching him yesterday, I might say field goal kicker. Did I see a little right leg, Daniel
The first
Jones?
one was bad. I made the second one. When we were kids, one weekend, my brother, my dad, and I, we built a PVC pipe field goal post in the backyard. So we kicked a little bit growing up. I can't do it much anymore, but thought I'd give it a shot.
Groupie, Schrader, Jones, James Boyd. We got the kicking competition with 3 of them now.
I don't know. I think Shane might have interfere a little bit if you get out there too often.
It looked good. It looked good with the right
Second
leg.
one's okay.
Yeah.
Second one's okay. Yeah.
For you, what does full pads mean? I mean, I get for the guys around you, it probably means maybe a little bit more, but what has this been like finally being back into the closest thing in a uniform setting you'll see until September 13th?
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously, we're not getting hit, but I think you can feel the speed kind of around you pick up and the intensity of practice pick up. The pocket's a little bit more real. Some of the receivers in and out of their breaks are getting collision more, and I mean, it's just more real in that sense. So, it's been good. I thought we had good work today. Second day in full pads. Usually the first day there's a lot of runs. We had a lot of runs yesterday, a few more passes today. So it was good. Good work. I think through this first week and a half, I think we've gone back and forth a good bit. I think offensively done some good things. Defensively they've done some good things. So it's been good competitive work.
Daniel, you're about 8 months into your recovery from Achilles surgery. How do you feel physically, and how grateful are you to just be back out here doing more normal things, if that makes sense?
Yeah, extremely grateful. I think, working with EB and Kyle and their staff here with the Colts and, just throughout the rehab process, I've had a ton of help from a lot of people, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good spot. Working through it, continuing to feel more and more comfortable doing everything, feeling quicker, more explosive. Kind of every day, trying to continue to progress. Continuing that process.
So when we talked to Chris and Carly throughout training camp, they were saying you kind of gave yourself maybe a day, 48 hours, and then you were right back to, okay, what do I have to do to get better after surgery? How for you were you able to approach something like that, and maybe throughout your career, what informs how you just, I guess, bounce back? You've done it many times.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had a ACL rehab and a couple other injuries, but I don't know. I think you just accept it as part of the game and part of the process. It's an unfortunate part of the process. You do everything you can to avoid being in those situations with how you take care of your body and how you prehab, but you're pushing your body. You're going to get, it's a physical game, and I think you just got to accept it. And you're always training, I think, and you're always training for something, whether it's you're trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, you're improving your quarterback mechanics, you're trying to pick up an edge mentally. So the training shifts a little bit. Now it's about for me, it was Achilles. So I think that's just kind of the approach I've taken is I'm going to be training. I'm going to be working anyway. So now my work has to be geared toward my Achilles.
I think early on you chatted with Aaron Rodgers. I assume you've chatted with Tyrese Halliburton about his situation, whether it's those two, whether it's anybody else. Anything truly profound that you kind of heard from them in their respective rehabs that you've tried to apply to yours?
I think as much information as you can get is helpful, and talk to those guys and a number of other people, a number of physical therapists and doctors, like I said, mostly here with EB and their staff here, but I think the Achilles rehab, the biggest thing I learned early on was just the difference in Achilles versus ACL. ACL is something that kind of as you can as you can tolerate, as you can get moving, you kind of push it and you go pretty quickly. You can see big progress early. The Achilles was different for me. It's like you're on a scooter for a long period of time. You're in a boot. It's slow to start. You got to let it heal, and then kind of your pace picks up. After several months. So I think it's just accepting that, learning that part of the process, and hearing other people's experiences helped me.
What do you think will be the biggest unknown on September 13th for you, outside of just no red jersey, of course?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there'll be much. I mean, I think if similar to how you feel every week one. There'll be nerves and getting back into it, and I can't say I won't be thinking about my Achilles. I think obviously you will, but I expect to feel really good. I expect to feel really, really good going into the game, and I'll be it might come across my mind, but I won't be worried about it. Everything I'll do week one I will have done in practice or in a rehab setting, with the exception of the contact, obviously, but I'll be feeling good by September 13th.
So talking to Josh and a few other of the position or guys who were catching passes from you, they said that it was really important for you all to get down in Florida and have those opportunities, kind of get those reps in before training camp started. Why was it important for you to, I guess, coordinate that? And on a more joking note, were you on time to dinner? Because everyone always says you're late to dinner, but when you're coordinating, do you kind of factor that in?
I was late to dinner. I wasn't expecting everyone else to be on time, and everyone else was on time. I was the last one down. But I was coordinating a lot of stuff. All right, I had a lot of things I was getting straight for everybody else. But
that's an excuse I hear right there.
Hey, I mean,
come on now.
You can explain why you might be a hair late to dinner, DJ.
I think I was finishing stuff up on the golf course or something. But I think the time on the field's important. There's 2 workouts and. Got a lot of good work in, but I think the most valuable part of that is the time off the field and being somewhere together, going to dinner, playing golf, riding to and from the workout, hanging out at the hotel. I think that time is just valuable to get to know guys in a setting outside the, our training facility or whatever that is. And, guys were excited to be there. We had a good time, and I think that was valuable.
Again, that is Daniel Jones with us here live, Drop Light Grand Park campus. Day 6 of Colts camp just wrapped up. What's your favorite part in season of Monday through Saturday?
I think every week's different. I think I really enjoy how we game plan here, the team. I think how Shane goes through the week.
So is that coaches, a big Tuesday for you then? Is that
Tuesday's important, but especially later in the week for us. I think Friday and even Saturday, we're still talking about once you have a good grasp of the game plan, you've repped some stuff, you've seen all the plays on defense, you've had a chance to think about it for a few days. Sometimes there's an idea that comes on Friday and Saturday, and you talk through it, and really the best moment about when you get in the game on Sunday and something comes up that you've talked about, you're ready for it, you have a check, or you have you reminded a receiver to do this if he sees that, or whatever it is. And I think when those moments come into fruition and you realize it worked, or it happened like you thought it might, I think that's the most rewarding part of the process for me.
When you bring up Shane, I was struck by how early last offseason he made it clear that he believed in you. And, here you are in a quarterback competition, and it just seemed like from the early part of the offseason, Shane continued to back you, continued to mention you, continued to talk about you. What, I guess, has Shane meant? And, again, it's only been a year plus, but what has he meant for your career, given where you were at in that crossroads after Minnesota?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, a ton for sure. Very grateful for the opportunity here, and Shane believing in me and giving me a chance to play. I've learned a ton from him, X's and O's wise, and just like his approach, his philosophy, how he wants to be on offense, how he wants the quarterback to play. he's aggressive. He's aggressive. He wants to take the shot. He's dialing up a bunch of game plan plays. He wants to call them. He wants to see him on the field. So that has rubbed off on me pretty quickly when I got here last year, and it's a good feeling for a quarterback to feel that confidence, to feel a coach who wants to give you those chances. If it doesn't work, hey, we got another one. If that one doesn't work, we got another one. And you can sense that and you can feel that, and that's a fun way to play quarterback. So. Yeah, very, very grateful for the opportunity here and him believing in me, him giving me the chance, helping, just communicating and trying to find things that work for both of us and things that he thought I did well. Very, very fortunate to end up here for sure.
Daniel, when you look at just what's kind of transpired over last year, it's been the highest of the highs, probably some lows in there as well. How do you compartmentalize how last season unfolded? You got off to a great start, and then it didn't end how you wanted to. So what do you take away from last year, and then what do you kind of leave behind as you go into a new season?
Yeah, I think you can definitely draw a lot of confidence from the early part of last year. I thought we were playing good football, both sides of the ball. Offensively, I thought we were running it really well. We were throwing it really well. We were a dynamic offense. We were putting up a lot of points, and then we weren't able to carry that through. And I think what you got to learn is like in the NFL, it's about 17 weeks and then into the playoffs, and you've got to be able to sustain it for the entire season. So whether that's staying healthy or whatever, continuing to make plays, winning tough games, coming back, whatever the situation is, you've got to be able to sustain it through the whole season to be successful in the league. And that's nothing new. Everybody knows that, but you've got to do it.
Just a couple of minutes left here with Daniel Jones again live in Westfield. Day 6 of Colts camp just wrapped up. All right, you're running off the field after the win. I want to say it was in L.A. last year over the Chargers. Evan Washburn stops you and chatting on CBS and mentions to you, the surprise at a 6-1 start for the Colts. You responded with, sounds like y'all didn't know. It was a little caught me off guard. I think I had an bleep moment when I heard that. Where do you think that comes from? Like that moment where in an interview setting you are the quarterback, but that seemed to be maybe a little bit of just like, hey, this is maybe the true colors of me, the competitor, coming out here right after the game ended.
I don't know. I think when you're on the field and you're competing, and I've always felt like I'm able to kind of separate the two and compartmentalize them, and I feel like I'm as competitive as anybody. I play with that kind of energy and fire, and maybe I don't always show it, and maybe I don't show it in the post-game press conference all the time.
You can.
But we're all competing, and I think you demonstrate a lot of that competitiveness and how bad you want it by how hard you're willing to work and how much you're willing to put into it and what you're willing to do that people aren't willing to do. I think there's people who judge, try to judge a mindset based on other things than that, and they don't always understand. So, I think, I don't know. It was just a competitive moment, I guess.
Last one from me, and as much as I'd love to break down golf courses in Central Indiana with you, I won't bore James over the. You should see James's golf swing, by the way.
You should not see it.
Yeah.
Conti's got the footage. So.
Looks like you kicking a field goal if you had been electrocuted before you kicked that field goal. Favorite Indy? Let's go. Favorite just Indy event you've been to? Pacer playoff game, Indy 500, maybe something I'm not even thinking about.
Oh, that's tough. I did go to the Indy 500 last year, and the Pacer finals game, one of the games last year. I think that Pacers finals game to me was just getting to Indy, and not knowing a ton about the sports scene and the culture of the city, and just feeling that energy, feeling the overwhelming just buzz like in the city, but all in that building that night. It was cool for me to witness.
Daniel, I want to just pivot a little bit because I noticed last year you were wearing the Mission 34 cleats during My Calls, My Cleats for your high school teammate, I believe. Sean Bonner. Can you explain like what Mission 34 means and how maybe the loss of him or whatever informs your perspective now, life, sports, whatever?
Yeah, I think Mission 34 is an organization started in Charlotte by Sean's parents, and their work is surrounding starting these conversations to similar to kicking the stigma, their motto is a new type of tough. So to start conversations from people, to encourage people to reach out and support one another, and realizing that in a lot of situations that's the tough thing to do, and encouraging people to do that, support one another, and get help when you need it. So it wasn't necessarily something I set out to be a part of, but something that kind of came to me, and I think you realize how serious this stuff is right now in our day and age, and how much good positive progress can be made through these organizations, and Mission 34 does an incredible job in Charlotte and really throughout the country now.
Last one I'll leave you with is, what does it mean, talk about mental health, perspective, all these things, to be out here at camp, kids are asking for your autograph. A year ago you weren't sure if you're going to be the starting quarterback. To be somewhere, to be loved, and to have an opportunity to go into year 2 fully healthy, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think definitely really, very grateful of the support here of our fans. They're here every day and cheering for us, and it's awesome to feel the support here while we're at practice and throughout town. I felt it living here the past year or so. So very, very grateful and appreciative of our fans here, and feel very grateful to be back out on the field.
Man, I want to see these Jones backyard PVC pipe goalposts.
It's not there anymore. It's
man.
not there anymore.
The room's still the same?
It was a nice H goalpost,
Okay.
Little sag in the middle, but
I love it. I'm picturing like old school NFL films goalposts here in the Jones backyard. Daniel, thanks for the time, man.
All right.
Appreciate you joining us. Stay healthy, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Daniel Jones with us yesterday up there in Westfield. Enjoyed that combo, and thank you to him for joining us. James, I think there's a lot of different answers that I could kind of point to of, maybe I was struck by. Anything in particular really stand out to you from what Daniel Jones had to say yesterday?
I think his answer about how people perceive competitiveness was really about as open he's been about being the non-demonstrative competitor, but still having that fire. And from what we've learned, Kevin, he's not that same person he shows up as in the post-game media. From what I understand, and I'm speaking for myself and talking to players, off the record and behind the scenes, and they're like, yeah, Daniel isn't exactly this just quiet, mild-mannered guy. He's very even throughout games, which I think you need every quarterback to be if you want to be successful. But he definitely talks his talk a little bit and backs up his teammates. So I was kind of glad to hear that perspective from him and to hear him weigh in on some of the maybe misconceptions about how much he actually loves football, which I think he just shows it rather than tells it. And again, when you have a guy who last year prior to the Achilles tear, Kevin, he's playing on a broken leg. I know people kind of downplay it. Oh, it might have been just a fracture in his fibula, a little crack or whatever. It doesn't matter. It was broken. So the fact that he didn't make any excuses and honestly wouldn't have even told us or addressed it at all if he wasn't limping around tells you how much of a competitor he is.
Yeah, his quote there of like, you demonstrate, through hard work.
Yeah.
Are you willing to do things that others aren't willing to do? You don't necessarily, I guess, have to be this demonstrative, individual when it comes to, competitive spirit, how much it means, playing with fire, all of those things. I did think that was probably one of the more enlightening answers that I've heard from Jones in regards to, that aspect to it. And, I remember just, kind of being caught off guard. And honestly, I can picture Evan Washburn, the CBS sideline reporter, asking that, and then Daniel Jones responding in kind of the emphatic nature that he did. And I say emphatic for Daniel Jones in media settings. And I remember Evan Washburn's like facial reaction to that. And I had the same thing of like, oh, wow, that's a little bit different. And, again, I mean, we're talking 2 minutes after playing an NFL game. I would imagine there are still some competitive juices that are, flowing big time there. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought him comparing kind of the ACL and Achilles rehabs also. And I would just say this to James: we're 6 practices in to Colts camp, and I've almost now just taken for granted that Daniel Jones is taking every rep. Like it's gotten to that point for me. It's like, oh yeah, another day, Daniel Jones, every single starting rep. Ho hum.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, maybe I should, step back a little bit. And maybe the off day today is kind of needed to be like, imagine saying that in December. Imagine saying in December, you're going to get to late July, early August. You're going to have 6 practices in a 7-day period. It's easily their busiest stretch of camp. And he's going to take every single starting rep. And you got to squint to really, I think, see, all right, maybe he's not moving fully 100%. But again, you watch him yesterday, and I'd argue that ball placement was pristine.
So, KB, I would even say from where he was moving throughout the spring to where he's moving now has been pretty noticeable. I thought in the spring you could tell he was recovering from an Achilles injury. Whereas now, if you're just coming in cold, no history of his injury, no knowledge of who Daniel Jones is, I don't think the average person or someone with no background can tell you that he was ever injured.
I have an analogy on Daniel Jones's movement. I'm not sure if it's safe for work, but I'm glad we're back in studio because we have Mr. Not Safe for Work with us here.
No, Lord.
So I'll
Fire away, man.
maybe I can
Safe space here.
Can I clear that up in the break with you, Mark, and see if I can deliver that in the 8 o'clock hour?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Send it via text. Send it in my ear. Whatever you want to do.
I don't want any paper receipts. There's no chance. No chance. I'm sending that thing by text. I will share that potentially on air. Again, 8 o'clock hour. What did Jonathan Taylor have to say about Bijan Robinson's contract extension? What does that mean for him? I think some real separation in the kicker battle right now. And is there a wrinkle to the Lou Anarumo defense that we saw on display yesterday in practice? 8 o'clock hour upcoming Wednesday morning fan morning show. We are back in studio. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Mark Dykton.
The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Did I see Andrew Luck throwing a football yesterday?
You did.
How'd that make you feel? Ooh.
Yeah, what's crazy is he's trying to help Zach Ertz make an NFL comeback after he tore his ACL last season. Granted, he hasn't been out of the league for several years or anything like that, but still trying to get on an NFL roster. And there will always be a part of us, Kevin, that looks at Andrew Luck, Mr. Luck, throw the spiral and think, what if?
Kind of staring at the girl at the high school reunion a little bit too long.
I kept like
kind of hitting you in the side, like, "Hey, well, she's just using my science lab partner."
I kept yelling at the video, like, "Stop showing me Zach Ertz. I want to see Andrew Luck throw the pill a little bit more."
Yeah, I want to see how that form looks, right?
Yeah.
Technique wise, all of it. 37 years old next month. One Andrew Luck.
So we've talked about this a little bit, Kevin, and we don't have to go on this road a ton today. But since the video's out there, the topic of Andrew Luck and Ring of Honor has been rekindled a little bit. I don't think it's going to happen, if at all, until the Colts find their franchise quarterback. Maybe they found it with Daniel Jones, but until they've had some success post Andrew Luck with a quarterback who's been here for more than a season or two, that wound is just still too fresh.
Yeah, I'm probably with you on that. I'm curious if we get into a little bit of Ring of Honor like lull. You know, it's like, so it's Vinatieri this year, right? Because he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Dallas Clark was recent.
But it seems like we're kind of through the Manning era besides Bob Sanders.
Yeah. Who, by the way, should be in yesterday, but
Right.
Continue.
I know some have mentioned Tarek Glenn, but again, you know, like, is T.Y. Hilton next? You know, like, what does that list look like? You know, obviously one day, I mean, Quentin Nelson and Jonathan Taylor on Hall of Fame pass, you would assume they would get there. I don't want to talk about Luck any more than another 2 minutes, to be abundantly clear on that. But last year, when they called Phillip Rivers, it was a cute movie. If they call Andrew Luck, would that be a sick movie? Would that be tugging too much at the heart, if you can kind of feel me there? Like, Rivers was kind of, it was a cute, like, chick flick, right?
Yeah, it was basically
Here's kind of the grandpa, and he's got a little bit of the gut on him, and like, here's the high school team, and here's a million kids, and like, yeah, that, you know, that's kind of cute. I mean, to use James's term right there, the wound still. If it was Luck in the call, you'd be thinking, oh boy, Daniel Jones, you might be sweaty with that Achilles cast on right now.
I think they would have made the playoffs if Andrew Luck would have been there, quite honestly.
Wow.
Oh my
Do you
God.
really? You really think the Colts missed the playoffs by 3 games, Mark?
I know.
You think Andrew Luck comes in here and goes 3-1 in those final 4?
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you really mean that?
Yeah, sure. We saw what Rivers could do. You're telling me Andrew Luck, he can't wind it up a little bit more?
Outside of Seattle, let's not act like the Colts were super competitive in those other couple of games.
He's getting all the gosh darn it's and shoots, but he's getting in the end zone quite a bit. He's throwing it all out there.
I'm not going to lie. The start to the Monday night game against the 49ers, KB, Rivers was cooking.
That was like one drive, wasn't it?
It was 2, wasn't it? I thought they had 2 touchdowns early in that game.
Was it 2 drives?
I want to say he had 2 touchdown passes. Don't you ever discredit Uncle Grandpa Phil.
Mark Dykton with Andrew Luck. The Colts
that was probably the hottest take I've heard.
Would have made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people say Andrew Luck has sent the Colts into this tailspin. He's the only person to get him out of it.
That's right.
That sounds like the arc for a superhero movie.
I mean, he did call Frank Reich, right, to bail Stanford out. Maybe it's time for the Colts. I mean,
one last ride.
Sounds like a movie.
No chance in hell. Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, that contract yesterday, James. You make anything of what JT said? Again, the Bijan Robinson contract, I guess, just to offer a little bit more. A, he's younger. B, he's a former first-round pick. And C, this is his first contract extension in the NFL. So how do you think Taylor viewed that? Actually, that was news to him when he walked off the practice field yesterday.
Yeah, I think that he's probably a happy man. I know Mark tweeted about this immediately after Bijan Robinson got paid, and JT's probably thinking, well, look, I'm not going to get the $25 million a year that he's getting on his extension, which is understandable. Bijan Robinson's, in my opinion, a better player and a younger player. But JT, his last deal was what, $14 million annually? He's in the last year of that deal, 3 years, $42 million. So can he get to being paid as a top 5 running back? That's probably a fair question given his resume. He's deserving of a raise or at least another payday, whether it's here or somewhere else. And it just comes down to whether the Colts feel like they can pay or are willing to pay a 27-year-old running back, or will they basically say, look, we know Bijan Robinson got his deal. We know that you probably think that could lead to something for you, but we've already paid you once and we don't want to pay you again. We'll let you ride this out, pile up the carries again, and then become a free agent next year. But here's what JT had to say in his reaction to the Bijan Robinson deal and what it could mean for him.
No, I think everybody's situation is different. So I'm just happy he got done, man. When the young guys are able to secure themselves and their family, like I said, I remember that day. It's a really, really great day. You know there's still more work to be done, but you know, like, hey, this hard work is paying off and we're going to continue to work hard. So it's awesome. I got to go talk to my agent, too. I got to go talk to him and see where things are at. I've been trying to just focus on getting better, making sure I'm staying in shape. Like I said, I have faith, so I'm going to tap in and check in when you guys broke the news to me.
I do think the Robinson domino was an important one to fall for then Taylor to kind of slot in after this. Brought this up at the 7 o'clock hour. I think with contracts, a lot of times, you just compare them to others at your position. And, again, Taylor, like you said, James, 7th highest paid running back. I believe it'll get done before the start of the season. And they've got plenty of time. I mean, we referenced the Quentin Nelson contract extension got done the day before the season started 1 year. So, Nelson and Taylor, those are the two for me. I want to go back to something yesterday we saw at practice. Again, the Colts in full pads again yesterday. Unlike on Monday, Monday was a little bit more run heavy. You heard Daniel Jones reference that when we chatted with him. By the way, if you missed the Daniel Jones interview, we'll play that for our 9 o'clock audience coming up here in a little bit. But yesterday was much more of a throwing day, I thought, in full pads, particularly down the field. Like before yesterday, James, I can think of maybe 1 or 2 really kind of chunk plays Daniel Jones has had so far through camp. Yesterday, he had several. Now, I should throw in the caveat. I would probably say he had 4 really 20-ish yard gains, if not longer, yesterday. Ashton Doolin, Laquan Treadwell, Tyler Warren, and Will Mallory, the receivers or the pass catchers on those 4 plays. On 2 of those 4, though, I think you pretty much had a sack. And this is difficulty sometimes with training camp, is the defenders are taught, hey, you just tag the quarterback, and then we'll still continue the play. So it's like, well, I mean, do you think it's a sack? Sometimes it's so obvious they do blow the play dead, but oftentimes they don't blow the play dead.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was Bryce Betcher the first time, blitzing, the rookie out of Oregon, tags him. Daniel continues to play deep ball. Later in practice, it was A.J. Halsey, another rookie, LSU, safety, and he tags Jones. And so, honestly, James, as I kind of thought back to yesterday's practice, it had less to do with like debating, was that a legitimate deep ball or not? It was more to do with the blitzing nature.
Yeah.
Those 2 sacks were by a linebacker and a safety. Those sacks came from bringing extra bodies. Right now, I've said the wide receiver group would not make me sleep well at night if I were Chris Ballard, a Colt coach, etc. The cornerback group would make me sleep well at night. If I'm Lou Anarumo and I'm saying, ooh, those are the guys I'm leaving on an island, this is an episode of Survivor, and I got Rupert out there. Like, this is a...
What a reference.
Javarius Ward, Sauce Gardner, and again, Sauce was out yesterday due to illness.
Yeah, but he's been amazing throughout camp.
Like, you're comfortable with those guys on islands. So let's play the numbers game. If you're comfortable with those 2 out there, does that mean then you're more comfortable adding rushers to your pass rush? And I would argue, given the state of your defensive line, you probably need to add some numbers in that game. You probably do need to play a little bit of math from a blitzing standpoint. Bring 6, bring 7, maybe even bring 8, And again, you're paying those corners to hang in there,
Yeah.
to hold up. Whereas in years past, I wouldn't have said that.
I would add too, Kevin. I think the safeties currently on the Colts roster, at least the two that have been playing the most opposite of Cam Bynum, offer you some of that versatility when it comes to those blitz packages, coverage packages. I think AJ Halsey has a lot of qualities that allows him to play across the field. I know when he was drafted, Kevin, on draft night, and when Chris Ballard spoke about him, we were all like, oh, that's your new strong safety. He's like, you know what? Don't just think he's only a strong safety. He has some ball skills. I know he's a bigger guy. I was kind of laughing at it, Kevin. I posted a clip on Twitter of AJ Halsey just doing some, warm-up DB drill, drop back in coverage, catch the ball. And people were like, he looks like a fullback. And I'm like, yeah, he's a bigger guy. I think some people might be having this misconception of what he looks like. I want to say he's like 6'2", like 225.
Well, I don't even think he's 6'2". I think he's like a short, stout kind of fullback, frankly. I mean, I think at LSU he's listed at 5'11". I think maybe the Colts have bumped him up to 6 foot. But honestly, James, it kind of gets back to our draft conversation about Halsey and this draft class. I said to you and our audience quite often, this is not a draft class of a bunch of athletic, freakish, longish dudes.
Yeah.
This is not the Chris Ballard RAS score, that acronym, RAS.
Yeah, I have him way up. He's 5'11", but nevertheless, he looks like a tank.
Yeah, he's not some tall, rangy safety. Him next to Cam Bynum are two different body types. And Bynum's not even like this super tall safety. But still, these guys are football players. I mean, even Bryce Betcher and C.J. Allen are not, they're not like Darius Leonard or Bobby Okereke looking linebackers.
No.
This is a...
They kind of look like old school. Like, Bryce Betcher gives me old school vibes.
Yeah, 100%. And even C.J. Allen gives me old school vibes, just with his stature. So, yeah, these rookies are kind of football throwback. But can I throw my Daniel Jones analogy? Mark cleared it up during the break.
Okay.
So, I didn't feel like I should say this to Daniel when we had him on.
Oh, boy, I'm scared.
Yesterday. But
I've got the dump button ready just in case I have second thoughts on this.
Well, that's a fitting button to have ready.
Oh, boy. Where are we going with this?
We're trying to be descriptive in what we're watching, right?
Yes.
I would say this.
What are you watching?
Watching Daniel Jones run right now. In the spring, I think he might have had to go number 2 really, really quickly when I watched him run. I think I'm watching him run now. It's one of those moments, to use a JMV phrase, where you're ready to play a bunch of away games. You're about ready to be outside of the house for a few hours, and you're thinking, should I get one out here before I leave the house? That's how I would describe how he's running right now. Maybe he's just got to go a little number 2. Not a lot of number 2.
What kind of analogy is that? You know what? We get on Mark for his brain and how it works. You have a fascinating brain, my friend.
Again, he's not fully 100%, but I'd say when he's running right now, he's not like knocking hard on the
porta potty,
on the old stall. Make sure people are in there, but he's maybe giving a, anybody in there? Okay, thanks. One of those as he's trying to scramble.
Like big butts and I cannot lie.
No, I'm
That's
not.
basically what
doing
you're
that.
looking at.
No,
Pretty much.
No. I'm just. It's more of just. It's the stride. There's just a little. I don't want to say limp or like, to me it's not that. But James, when I watch him move out of the pocket, when I watch him scramble, and I witnessed him do it last year for the first couple months of the season, he doesn't maybe look as fully light.
Not stepping on the gas. Pun intended.
Yeah. If you want to use a safer analogy, he's a speed limit of Meridian as we look out the window versus the 65-70 split.
I'm a nice man.
That's Kevin Bowen for you.
I'm trying to be descriptive here. I'm trying to paint a picture. I'm trying to, take people behind the curtain a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't want to be
Mark,
behind
you
that
haven't
curtain.
been in
I'm good.
Westfield yet.
I don't want to be behind that curtain, Kevin.
Was that a good description, Mark? You haven't been in Westfield yet. Now you have a general idea of how Daniel Jones looks. And the good news is he's got a month to get that you-know-what out.
I guess I have to go to Westfield and check out this gluteus maximus you're describing. Is that Nicki Minaj or is that Daniel Jones?
Yeah, thank you to the great Stuart Douglas. He's asking here, is the gotta pee run more athletic than the gotta poop run?
Oh, the second one is you're clenching and running. That's hard to do.
See, I think the gotta pee is like, you look like Usain Bolt. I would argue the gotta, go number 2 runs a little bit limpy. It's a little,
Oh, yeah. You're bated breath. You're trying not to breatve too much. Oh,
See,
it's
I knew
horrible.
Mark would be all in on
Bated
this.
breath is crazy.
I knew Mark would be.
No,
it took Mark a few minutes, but I knew he would be all in on this.
I may have had that situation the other day, and I was just like, this is awful. This is horrible. Kids
Hey,
get
we're
out
too
of the
grown
room.
to be having these situations, man.
The number 2 situation, just to be clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
I can't even describe what ended up happening.
Yeah, please don't.
Jeez, dear Lord. Oh, God, Mark. I wasn't going there, man.
Ashley was ashamed of me.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Whoa. I've met
Man.
Ashley. Very nice woman. So for her to be ashamed of you, you must be doing some stuff.
Some would say that's the day that ends in Y, actually, that she's
Oh.
ashamed of me.
Mark, I want to ask more, but I also don't want to stare at the car crash. I mean, jeez.
I'll tell you later.
Ah,
Dude,
God.
don't tell me. I'm
No.
good
I'm
with
going to wait
being
till you start
naive.
eating, James.
Yeah, I'm good with just being left in the dark. Some things, you
Man, I
guys
had
got
no idea this would turn into this.
Mark, you got to learn,
The
brother.
dark actually played a big role in,
just
in what happened.
take some stuff to the grave, okay? We ain't got to know, but it's between you and God or whoever you believe in.
We're all family here, Mark, and we haven't
Even
seen
God turned his eyes.
Oh, God.
Mark, we haven't seen you in a week. So, yeah.
I mean,
I
keep talking
think
like
is
this.
very
I'm not
fair.
going to see him. I'm standing in this room and locking the door.
How would you describe Daniel Jones running right now, James? Mr. Wordsmith,
Like I said,
Mr. award-winning Indiana sports writer
I'll
of the
tell
year.
you what, I'm not going to win an award describing his running style in the form of how we poop. I mean, come on now. I would say he just hasn't stepped on the gas fully. Not full throttle.
Boring.
Yeah, but I also feel like that's as descriptive as I need to be. There's boring and then there's explicit. Like everything you're saying is rated R.
I think we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of me having to go into the old porta potty to save the sunglasses. To see the signs for Sausage Fest up around the neighborhood. And that's where I was. Shout out to the great Derek Schultz in that realm. Zach Osterman in 20. It's a busy time in Bloomington. First practice for Indiana's football program today. And I would say a busy time off the field. Some looks like additions, honestly, to their football and basketball program. Notable additions happening. So we'll chat with him about that. The Notre Dame series being no longer. Mark, a checkdown's never saved us more.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Suave Men Refreshing Face and Body Wash on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Did you say Ashley's never been more ashamed of you?
No. I'm sure there's plenty of times that she has been. But she was like, really?
Did you not get there
Oh,
in time?
I think we have a check down to get to.
I am disgusted by
The
both of
time
you.
tomorrow will be late, 8 to 10 p.m. The Colts back to practice. Off day today, off day Friday. That's sandwiched around the night practice, the lone night practice. The lights will be there in Westfield for this. And James, last year, it was a highly competitive night practice. So I think if you're heading out to the Droplight Grand Park campus tomorrow, you will see the competitive juices flowing. And you'll see Shane Steichen in his element.
Yes, and if you're going to make the trip out to Westfield, make sure you use the bathroom beforehand.
They got great they've got those really nice porta potties.
They do, but again, just handle your business beforehand.
James at the urinal yesterday, Mark, during a break, and I walk in and he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" He had no idea it was me.
Yeah, I was focused on my business.
Are you a
Usually-
urinal talker, James? People walk in, you strike up a conversation?
No, he walked, like the urinal place is like super small. So he walked in and I'm like, I'm not going to be rude and not speak. It's kind of like a thing I was raised on, Mark. In my household, if you woke up and anybody was around, you had to say something.
I always give a sturdy handshake at the urinal.
Ah,
Nice to meet you.
Let's
How's
continue.
it going?
Practice number 7 of 13 at Grand Park will be tomorrow night, Saturday and Sunday morning here.
Oh my
Maybe we should
gosh.
be away from each other. Maybe it's best suited.
Yeah,
if
see,
we
he
are.
don't
I'm
know
all
how to
pent
act when
up
we
here.
come
I've been
back here.
alone.
Yeah, I
I've got no
know.
one to talk to.
Indiana Fever, 1.5-point favorite. that's tomorrow night against Las Vegas. Caitlin Clark is your Eastern Conference Player of the Week for a second straight week. 25, 9, and 5, 53% from the field. That's the thing, James, is like her efficiency shooting the basketball right now over the last handful of games. It's probably one of the better stretches of her career.
Yeah, I think she looks and probably feels healthier or as healthy as she's been all year managing her back injury. That's a positive sign for the Fever because obviously you want her to be feeling her best at this point in the season as you get ready for the playoffs. So a big one coming up tomorrow night and another test, I think, to see if you're really up there with the top tier teams in the league, those two being, to me, the Aces and the Lynx.
We should note Damaris Dantas announced yesterday by the Fever out for the season, meniscus surgery. I thought at times last year she provided some nice stretch for minutes for the Fever, but Mo Billings has played much better here recently, which is vital, I think, for the Fever moving forward. Major League Baseball yesterday. Mark, you guys are just dominating the Dodgers.
Rolling. Took care of Tarek Skubal. Let down his debut. Cookie Monster was in the house. Cubs are rolling. Can they get the clean sweep today? We will see.
White Sox smoked by the Red Sox 14-2. Cardinals blanked by the Yankees 2-0. Reds actually won a game over the A's. Speaking of big ones, Indians 14-1 over the Iowa Cubs. Sounds like we could have a new athletic director announced at Purdue. Tommy McClellan is the reported candidate there. Previously at Rice. Before that, the deputy AD at Vanderbilt. It's Hall of Fame week for the NFL. Adam Vinatieri going in. Coming up this weekend, you'll see some activities from Canton, Ohio, beginning tomorrow. IndyCar back on the Grand Prix out there in Portland, as they will start a very, very busy stretch here to close out the season. And again, Zach Osterman going to join us here in a few. We got a lot to talk about from an Indiana standpoint. Coaches poll out yesterday. We'll hit on all of that. But, Mark, let's get a check down on what looks to be a nice Wednesday.
Today, we're going to have mostly sunny skies, and it will be slightly more humid with a high near 86 degrees. Tonight, increase in cloud cover with a chance for spotty showers and a low near 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Stacks on deck, Patron on ice. And we can pop bottles all night, baby. You can have whatever you like.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Busy time down in Bloomington. We'll chat with Zach Osterman about potentially some reinforcements, familiar reinforcements to their basketball and football programs. Mark Dykton, thank you for the little TI, whatever you like, as we are back here on this Wednesday morning. Again, off day from training camp for the Colts. They'll be back tomorrow, 8 to 10 p.m. in that night practice. And boy, right now, I know JMV talked to them yesterday, but Blake Grupe, I would say, has a notable lead on Spencer Schrader. I get that Schrader's coming back from the leg injury. We'll see how the rest of August plays out. But, James, we've watched him kick 3 times in team settings this offseason, and I believe Spencer Schrader has missed 5. And as you do the Conor McGregor, meet Blake Grupe, meet Tiger Woods strut, Blake Grupe's yet to miss.
That's how he reacts every time he gets done doing his thing. He has, in my opinion, definitely taken the lead in the kicking competition, and it's just a remarkable turnaround for where he was going from really the start of last season to where we are now. This is a guy who missed 8 kicks with the Saints. I can't stress that enough. 8 kicks missed in 11 games. Comes to the Colts, was on fire for them, and has really probably regained his confidence with this team. So it's unfortunate that Spencer Schrader has kind of lost some ground really after he had the knee injury, because I don't think the Colts would even be having a competition this year had he stayed healthy for the full year. He was that good. I think he actually won AFC Special Teams Player of the Month to start last season, and then look ahead now, and he's probably on the outside looking in when it comes to the kicking competition.
Again, we will, if you missed it earlier, we'll play our Daniel Jones interview coming up in the 9 o'clock hour for those that were not with us around 7:30 or so. I enjoyed the conversation with them, thought a little bit more opening up on a few things than he typically is kind of in a press conference setting, so appreciated that from the Colts quarterback. One other note from yesterday, we did see Sauce Gardner miss due to illness. Laquan Treadwell, who was competing for that third wideout spot, he looked to get banged up kind of late in practice, and we have still yet to see Alec Pierce back. So, you know, even if you want to play the game of like, oh yeah, we like our wideouts, well, you know, now are there some injury questions starting to build at all? Again, we'll see about Treadwell and what his status is. You know, maybe nothing too severe, maybe more of a soft tissue thing that could be a week or so. So we'll await that, but I know that was a hot button topic here. How many minutes will you guys spend watching the Hall of Fame game tomorrow?
Oh, I always say I'm not going to watch it at all, but the degenerate in me ends up probably watching a quarter.
Yeah, I'll probably be in that realm.
I guess James and I can get out of school, if you will, because we'll be at the night practice. So, you know, maybe it's more of a Mark question. You're going to watch a quarter? Kenny Pickett slinging it?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, just because it's like, football's back. We're getting close. And then you'll be like, oh, wait, all these third and fourth stringers, I have no idea who are on these teams. I'm probably checking out.
The Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers from Canton, Ohio.
I know.
Football is back, baby.
Boy, Carolina Panthers, man, they've been ravaged already to start the season.
And they were a playoff team last year.
I know, and
That
they
is
got injuries
right.
galore, man. They were
That's
getting
right.
banged up.
Could have easily beat the Rams in that first game.
Yeah, they played well, I thought.
Coaches polls out for college football. Your top 5: Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame. 6 through 10, IU, Miami, A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. The SEC occupies 7 of the top 11. How do you define the best conference? Is it who wins a national title or who's got the most depth?
It's probably who has the most depth, but I would argue that the Big Ten has had a really good showing in some of these college football playoff games, especially if you're looking at the last few years relative to the SEC. Am I wrong in that assessment?
Right. Well, I mean, that probably gets into a different conversation. Is that just kind of the high-end first, 2 or 3 teams in each conference?
Well, you're probably talking to the wrong person, because to me I think that determines it in my eyes.
So who is the top 2 or 3 teams?
Yeah,
versus...
who's your best versus what you say is your best. For example,
because those SEC fans clamor, us playing an 8-game SEC schedule is different than playing an 8-game Big
Yeah,
Ten
I'm not trying to
schedule.
hear that because every time y'all have to face a Big Ten team in the playoff or something, well, not every time, but you've been smacked around.
3 of the top 11 occupy the Big Ten, of course. 7 of your top 11 there with the SEC. So if you look at that top 5, Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, everybody bringing back their quarterback. Indiana, Miami, both of them having to replace their starting quarterbacks there. It was interesting to note if you look at the coaches poll, Indiana at 6, they got the second most first place votes. Ohio State got the most with 38. Indiana got 14. So clearly there is a chunk of coaches in college football that that think very highly of, or maybe they side with the hey, until you beat the champ, they are the number one team, or maybe they just think, hey, Kurt Cincinnati and company deserve to be there. Are you surprised at all that Indiana's 6?
No, I'm not surprised. I just think that Fernando Mendoza was such a big part of what they want to do. Same with Omar Cooper Jr. and D'Angelo Pond. So, yeah, I think 6 is a fair ranking, and I'm sure Kurt Cincinnati will find some slight in it to make his team more motivated.
1,000% on that. One thing to note before we get to Zach Osterman coming up here in a few minutes, it sounds like Indiana, and again, I say sounds like because seemingly each day there's new rules for what is allowed eligibility wise in college sports, but it sounds like they could be getting back or will be getting back currently Stephen Daly. And for fans that maybe don't remember the full Stephen Daly story, was a great transfer from Kent State. Great edge rusher for him last year. I think he led the Big Ten in, I want to say it was sacks and tackles for loss, and got hurt. Really just kind of a horrifying scene, frankly, celebrating at Lucas Oil Stadium in that Big Ten championship game. So he couldn't play in the playoff game. I think any pursuit of, being on an NFL roster, drafted, undrafted free agent, kind of went to the side when he suffered that serious knee injury. IU announced yesterday that he's been cleared by their doctors. And again, with this 5 for 5, and we'll get more into this with Zach coming up on the other side, you're seeing players that just recently graduated trying to go back to college, get that healthy payday, and obviously play. And one thing I noticed, I get that IU is going from Fernando Mendoza to Josh Hoover, and maybe there are some questions there. When I watched the spring game earlier this year, I do think that D-line is probably their best position group. I know some might say wide out, with getting Nick Marsh in the transfer portal and having Charlie Becker back. But I thought that D-line before this news was very stout. Really, really good group. And now if you add, and again, we'll see where Daly is health-wise. Obviously, that was a pretty serious knee injury. And, the beauty of the college football season, I guess, is maybe you don't need Stephen Daly for a couple months here. But, James, that to me is you're adding a guy to an already very dynamic group.
Absolutely. And as we saw last year, it was the trenches that really, I thought, put IU on track to win a national championship. Taking nothing away from Fernando Mendoza and others, but we know, I think the knock on them the year before was kind of, okay, when you face the Notre Dames of the world and some other teams, you may not be able to hang when it comes to the line of scrimmage, but they dominated most of the time last season in the trenches, up front. And it's kind of crazy, Kevin, when we talk about this at all levels of football. We go into every season, and we're even with the Colts, we're talking about Daniel Jones and JT and Alec Pierce, but we all know if the O-line or defensive line doesn't hold up, they're cooked. And so to bring that back to IU, they're not cooked because they usually have some talented groups. And as you mentioned, especially last year, going into this year, they have arguably the best D-line in the country.
Much more on that. The addition of Sam Alexis, potentially the basketball team, the latest on the IU Notre Dame series falling apart. Zach Osterman from the Star going to join us next.
When I hear showtime, I'ma blow my mind. Something up so I can just blow my mind.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
A busy times in Bloomington. A lot of news, basketball and football, and I believe the first practice is today for Kurt Cignetti in the fall camp here for the Indiana Hoosiers. Talk more about that. He is Zach Osterman from the Indianapolis Star. Great coverage per usual on IU Athletics, and always appreciate Zach's time. Zach, first practice today. I have no idea. I feel like college practice viewing is much more limited than NFL training camp. Do you get to watch any of fall camp media-wise?
I mean, not anything particularly meaningful, but we do get some time sort of post-stretching, let's say anything interesting. So.
Again, that's the voice of Zach Osterman. Does a great job at Indy Star. And so I do want to go here, Zach. Stephen Daly, 5th year, coming back. Obviously, it's a big get for IU, but should we be looking at this as a win for college sports, or how do you feel about 5 for 5?
I mean, in general, I think the 5 for 5 rule is good. I think just, in where we are right now in college sports, I think eliminating uncertainty and trying to sort of, get a handle on kind of all of this sort of, where are the loopholes? And listen, it's not like we're going to stop finding loopholes. I mean, Lord knows it's been going on since college sports was first sort of.
Zach, I need you to stabilize the sport, man. Come on.
I can barely stabilize my own house. Let's be honest. But no, I think 5 for 5 is a good idea. I think there are a lot of people who've criticized the NCAA for not just grandfathering these the best way to think about this is when they graduated high school, these class of 2022 athletes that basically played 4 years and didn't never take a red shirt. There are a lot of people who've criticized the NCAA for not just grandfathering those players in to begin with and just sort of saying this will apply to those athletes. That's not that large of a group, right? We're talking about at most a few hundred athletes in each sport. That it's going to apply to these athletes, and then it will start being sort of rule of law, beginning with the athletic academic year that's starting right now. There are some people who I think cravenly have suggested the NCAA didn't do that because it hoped it would get a legal challenge that would maybe spark a crisis point like this at a time when it was looking for some ammunition in its argument for a federal solution to a lot of this. I think there are valid arguments on both sides of the question of whether or not the NCAA should have just kind of gotten with this to begin with. What I would say, at least a little bit more, sanguinely maybe, is at the end of the day, this specific challenge, yes, it contributes to the wider perception of chaos around college sports, but this one is a little bit limited in the sense that whatever happens with these players, and it still does kind of remain to be seen. I know a lot of them are trying to sort of get back with their teams if they're interested. You mentioned Stephen Daly. We saw Sam Alexis announce he's back with IU basketball. There have been others in other programs. This is something that is only going to apply for a short period of time. I don't think, famous last words, it will be as disruptive as, for example, something like the COVID year, which, we were grappling with the after effects of that decision for, 5 years, it felt like. I think this will be much more limited in its scope, but it is still going to come, I think, with some complication if the NCAA is successful in some of these appeals, because then that gets into the question of, are these players eligible? How does that affect, what a team might feel comfortable sort of doing with them during a season, and on and on. It's just another way in which this is all kind of messy without a lot of reply.
Again, Zach Osterman from the Indianapolis Star. He is with us here as Indiana begins their fall camp. Coming up today, North Texas, the opener for Indiana here in about a month. Let's go to the other news item of the week, and that was the IU Notre Dame series falling apart. I think Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated mentioned that Indiana was the one that ultimately backed out of this. Is this just kind of falling more to the boat of, we don't need to schedule anything of note in the non-conference given 9 Big Ten games and given we just made the national title or won the national title?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, number one, and I don't doubt Pat's sources. I definitely got the sense, sort of speaking to people kind of closer to the IU side, that there was a little bit of a feeling on their side that Notre Dame was interested in the date coming open. And obviously, I don't for a moment believe that the USC game got put on the schedule in the, 15 minutes or whatever between one announcement and the other, that they just sort of belled up USC and got that all together just in basically a quarter hour. But I think both sides are happy to kind of let the other one wear it a little bit. I also don't think, to your point, at the end of the day, I don't think IU cares very much. Like, this is, Indiana has been pretty open about this, really, that, they are doing this, they're scheduling this way. Obviously, the philosophy itself actually predates Curt Cignetti. It goes back to Tom Allen. But they're scheduling this way because they feel like, as you said, 9 Big Ten games is more than enough. This year, certainly, it feels like that's going to be the case. They're playing Ohio State. They're playing Michigan on the road. They're playing Washington on the road. You can criticize Indiana's scheduling philosophy if you want to. And all I would generally say on that is, as long as Indiana is comfortable sort of having made its bed this way, and if we get to Selection Sunday some year and they're 10-2 and they don't get in because of their non-conference, then they're going to have to wear that. They're just going to have to accept that. They're not going to get to complain. The one other thing I would say is a lot of this also is, and always has been, certainly in the sort of Curt Cignetti time period, designed around the belief that at some point in the not very distant future, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to come together on some kind of scheduling standardization that will probably include playing one another. And, if you look at a lot of these schedules that Indiana has put together for these next several years, one of the consistent themes is that they've got an FCS opponent on them. And if you actually go look at the contracts for those games, there is no buyout of them. Now, I don't think necessarily Indiana would leave those programs completely high and dry, but those are games that it would not be hard for Indiana to drop in the event, one off season, the SEC and the Big Ten got together and said, we're going to create an SEC Big Ten challenge. Every one of you is going to play a cross-conference game. And at that point, basically, Indiana would have a path to just sort of exiting out of one non-conference game per year and diving straight into, any kind of series like that. So I think a lot of that really is Indiana believing that they are going to have that on the schedule in the not so distant future. Curt Cignetti even referenced it at Big Ten Media Day, and I wouldn't be stunned if that's something we see, within the next few years.
Yeah, Zach, you certainly hit on it there. Something I was talking about yesterday when we brought up this topic is, to me, I think it'd be such a benefit to college football that last week of August, that first week of September, it's the last real quiet period for the NFL. If you could create that non-conference, entertainment, frankly, around some of these matchups, if you look at week 1 this year, I mean, it is a bad slate of games. And I get that, Michigan, Oklahoma in week 2 and Texas, Ohio State's there as well. It just seems like, yes, Big Ten, SEC, but, even if you could stretch it to the entire Power 4 there, which, is probably very wishful thinking on my end, it seemed like it'd be such a benefit from appointment viewing at a time where the NFL is still just a hair quiet.
Yeah, you're not going to see that unless or until you see an expanded playoff.
Yeah.
Because there's just, and obviously, we all kind of had a laugh at Sark's expense when he said, if we hadn't played Ohio State, we'd been in 10-2, we would have been in the playoff. And everybody said, yeah, but also if you hadn't lost to 4-8 Florida, you'd have been in the playoff too. But if I'm putting myself in the shoes of the estimable gentleman from Texas for a moment, his point was Texas challenged itself against Ohio State, lost that game, And you can, I think, probably make a credible argument that if Texas had just played, I don't know, UT El Paso and won and gone 10-2, that Texas has a much stronger playoff case purely on just wins and losses and where things stand. And I'm not trying to sit here and defend the SEC on the whole sort of, well, our strength of schedule is so tough, so ignore our records and our performances. But the point is, if you are going to toughen these schedules, I don't think anybody's going to agree to that unless or until they get a little bit of protection from the idea of at least a 16-team playoff. I think certainly from the Big Ten's perspective, the preferred number eventually would be 24. And if that happens, and you did get rid of conference championship games, which is something that would almost certainly be a consequence of that, then I think that's where you would see something like that open up for both reasons. One, if you're going to get rid of some quality TV inventory at the back end, because conference championship games are annually very, very well viewed, very well attended. They are some of the best games on the calendar, and therefore some of the most lucrative. Then you're going to need to do something to replace those games at the front end, and I think that's where the idea of scheduling standardization would make a lot of sense with what you're talking about. Again, I don't know that it would be quite so pie in the sky to say we get the whole Power Four in on that in some shape or form. But you're only going to do that if you can also provide the sort of competitive assurance. Because if everybody's playing if everybody's playing one of those games at the front end of the season, half the Power Four is going to lose a game week 1 or week 2, and nobody's going to be overly excited to go ahead and agree to throw a loss on their docket so early in the season without the assurance that 9-3 is still, in a lot of cases, going to be a comfortable entry point to the playoffs.
Zach, we do hear from Kurt Cignetti later today. Is that right?
Yes.
So Kurt Cignetti will be meeting the media here as it's day 1 of fall camp for the Indiana Hoosiers. Preseason ranked in the coaches poll 6th. It was announced yesterday. Zach, always appreciate your work and the diligence around it. Thank you as always for making time for us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Good talking to y'all.
Zach Osterman, big Falcons fan. So the Bijan Robinson news, I would assume he's a fan of. Honestly, when I saw that news yesterday with Bijan Robinson, and I feel this way when I watch them every week, how are the Falcons not better?
Yeah, they always seem to have like 3 games every year where they probably should have won because they're in that one of the weaker has been one of the weaker divisions.
For sure.
They're
kind of like the Colts, right? With that playoff drought, aren't they?
They are. I do want to say this, Kevin. I was kind of looking at some of their roster moves that they've had over the last few weeks, and their 2 big guys, as far as their stars recently who have gotten paid, kind of mirror the positions that the Colts probably need to hand over some money to. So Bijan gets 3 years, $75 million as one of the top running backs in the league. That is Bijan Robinson, to be clear. And then Matthew Bergeron, their left guard, got a 4-year, $96 million extension, and he's pretty good. So, again, left guard, running back got paid in Atlanta. They're younger players, but can we see the same sort of dominoes fall here in Indy?
That quarterback battle to Michael Penix, we'll see that firsthand. That, again, concludes Colts training camp here 2 weeks from today, right? Is the first joint practice.
Yes, sir.
With the Atlanta Falcons. If you missed our Daniel Jones interview from earlier, we'll play that upcoming to the 9 o'clock hour. What else did we learn yesterday of another full padded practice? We got to hit on all of it. Mark Dykton's Colts question of the day. Busy 9 o'clock hour coming your way on the Fan. Galaxy Concrete Coatings, that is indoor and outdoor concrete. We're talking garages, basements, patios, porches, and sidewalks. Galaxy Concrete Coatings online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. When you're there, you'll see the pictures and styles available to you. I think that's a great place to start, an important place to start in trying to see if something matches your home or your workplace. And then from there, manufacturers upgrade the warranty from 15 years to lifetime. So you got to love that aspect to it. And really very efficient process. We got a new sidewalk, new front porch put in a couple summers ago. Didn't have too much of an issue whatsoever with any of that. Again, it's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. It's indoor and it's outdoor concrete. You can contact them today, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
That's an off day from the Drop Light Grand Park campus. 6 of 13 practices complete there in Westfield. Practice number 7 tomorrow night. Legit night practice under the lights, 8 to 10 p.m. for that one. If you missed our conversation with Daniel Jones, we'll play that upcoming here in just a minute. James, your big takeaway from yesterday, one of the longer full padded practices we've had at camp.
I thought it was pretty exciting, not only for us, but for the fans out there in Westfield to see the ball get pushed down the field more. I thought Daniel Jones showed pretty good accuracy as well. I know that's been, I think, one of his strengths with this team since he joined the Colts. And talking to Coach Rick Venturi, who I have a piece out talking to him and his thoughts on the state of the Colts coming out tomorrow morning. But he was kind of breaking down, hey, this is what it looks like at this level. You know, when you're playing in college or looking at some of these games on Saturdays, you see often wide receivers running wide open. And, you know, you can have some college quarterbacks who have great seasons without really having that same level of success in the NFL. And most of the time it's because they can't make the super accurate throws, the tight window throws. And I thought Daniel made a number of those yesterday.
Honestly, Daniel Jones's high-level accuracy probably looks even better when you watch the next two quarterbacks throw the football.
And I think that's also why the Colts really need him to stay healthy. And I get that. When I say stay healthy, I mean not necessarily, he's got to play all 17 games. I mean, he needs to be the guy going into the playoffs if you get there. Like, if he misses a month or something or has another season-ending injury, I think the Colts are pretty cooked. I just don't trust the other guys to really be stable behind him. I haven't seen that stability. Maybe you have other observations you want to add, Kevin, but it's been kind of up and down for both backup quarterbacks, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say more down than up. I mean, with Richardson and Leonard, both of them, I understand the second and third units, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of backups around you. Like, you know, that is the state, obviously, of quarterbacking those units. But it just seems like there's been little to no positive movement down the field, or even methodically.
From the backups.
Yeah, both of those reserve units.
Yeah.
You know, whoever's quarterbacking the second team, whoever's quarterbacking the third team. I guess yesterday was a little bit more Richardson, which I think we were curious about just because Leonard had done, it looked like a little bit more on Saturday and Monday there.
He dropped another snap, by the way.
Yeah, he's got, big time issues with snap handling, the catching of snaps. Even Leonard dropped one yesterday to the point where it looked like a broken play and he just had to scramble. So, yes, it's been a, I don't think you sleep too well imagining that. And again, the preseason games will be huge for those guys. They're going to get great reps, you would think, in the preseason games. One more to note on Daniel Jones and James. I just thought down the field yesterday, I mean, he was just so accurate, giving his guys chances. The throw to Will Mallory was beautiful. Probably a 20-ish yard gain, layered right over the second level of the defense. Gave Tyler Warren a chance with Cam Bynum right there, made a great grab. We mentioned it in the opening hour of the show. Of the 4 deep balls, there were probably a couple that could have been blown dead for sacks. But still, the play moves on, and you still have to deliver the ball. And I thought it was a couple nice deep balls. It was Laquan Treadwell and Ashton Doolin.
You know who I can give some love to, and not breaking any news here, but I think what Tyler Warren does, not just from a skill set standpoint, Kevin, is that he has some of those my guy is just a little better than your guy plays. And I think you need that from your top pass catchers, your top playmakers, and really all along your football team. Sometimes you can have the best coverage dialed up, because I thought that Cam Bynum was in perfect position on that play yesterday, but Tyler Warren was just a little bit better. And that, to me, is often the separator between you keeping a drive alive, winning a game, and ultimately getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Yeah, my guy's better than your guy. Yeah, Tyler Warren fits the my guy category. All right, our conversation yesterday at Colts practice was with QB1. Here it is, Daniel Jones joining the Fan Morning Show. All right, welcome back. Our final interview here at Grand Park, Droplight Grand Park, Westfield, Indiana, day 2 in full pads. The quarterback joins us right now, QB1. Although, now that I say quarterback, after watching him yesterday, I might say field goal kicker. Did I see a little right leg, Daniel
The first
Jones?
one was bad. I made the second one. When we were kids, one weekend, my brother, my dad, and I, we built a PVC pipe field goal post in the backyard. So we kicked a little bit growing up. I can't do it much anymore, but thought I'd give it a shot.
Groupie, Schrader, Jones, James Boyd. We got the kicking competition with 3 of them now.
I don't know. I think Shane might have interfere a little bit if you get out there too often.
It looked good. It looked good with the right leg.
Second one's okay.
Yeah?
Second one's okay. Yeah.
For you, what does full pads mean? I mean, I get for the guys around you, it probably means maybe a little bit more, but what has this been like finally being back into the closest thing in a uniform setting you'll see until September 13th?
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously, we're not getting hit, but I think you can feel the speed kind of around you pick up and the intensity of practice pick up. The pocket's a little bit more real. Some of the receivers in and out of their breaks are getting collision more, and I mean, it's just more real in that sense. So, it's been good. I thought we had good work today. Second day in full pads. Usually the first day there's a lot of runs. We had a lot of runs yesterday, a few more passes today. So it was good. Good work. I think through this first week and a half, I think we've gone back and forth a good bit. I think offensively done some good things. Defensively they've done some good things. So it's been good competitive work.
Daniel, you're about 8 months into your recovery from Achilles surgery. How do you feel physically, and how grateful are you to just be back out here doing more normal things, if that makes sense?
Yeah, extremely grateful. I think, working with EB and Kyle and their staff here with the Colts and, just throughout the rehab process, I've had a ton of help from a lot of people, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good spot. Working through it, continuing to feel more and more comfortable doing everything, feeling quicker, more explosive. Kind of every day, trying to continue to progress. Continuing that process.
So when we talked to Chris and Carly throughout training camp, they were saying you kind of gave yourself maybe a day, 48 hours, and then you were right back to, okay, what do I have to do to get better after surgery? How, for you, were you able to approach something like that, and maybe throughout your career, what informs how you just, I guess, bounce back? You've done it many times.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had where I had a ACL rehab and a couple other injuries, but I don't know. I think you just accept it as part of the game and part of the process. It's an unfortunate part of the process. You do everything you can to avoid being in those situations with how you take care of your body and how you prehab, but you're pushing your body. You're going to get, it's a physical game, and I think you just got to accept it. And you're always training, I think, and you're always training for something, whether it's you're trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, you're improving your quarterback mechanics, you're trying to pick up an edge mentally. So the training shifts a little bit. Now it's about for me, it was Achilles. So I think that's just kind of the approach I've taken is I'm going to be training. I'm going to be working anyway. So now my work has to be geared toward my Achilles.
I think early on you chatted with Aaron Rodgers. I assume you've chatted with Tyrese Halliburton about his situation, whether it's those two, whether it's anybody else. Anything truly profound that you kind of heard from them in their respective rehabs that you've tried to apply to yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think as much information as you can get is helpful, and talk to those guys and a number of other people, a number of physical therapists and doctors. Like I said, mostly here with EB and their staff here, but I think the Achilles rehab, the biggest thing I learned early on was just the difference in Achilles versus ACL. ACL is something that kind of as you can tolerate, as you can get moving, you kind of push it and you go pretty quickly. You can see big progress early. The Achilles was different for me. It's like you're on a scooter for a long period of time. You're in a boot. It's slow to start. You got to let it heal, and then kind of your pace picks up. After several months. So I think it's just accepting that, learning that part of the process, and hearing other people's experiences helped me.
What do you think will be the biggest unknown on September 13th for you, outside of just no red jersey, of course?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there'll be much. I mean, I think if similar to how you feel every week one. There'll be nerves and getting back into it, and I can't say I won't be thinking about my Achilles. I think obviously you will, but I expect to feel really good. I expect to feel really, really good going in the game, and I'll be it might come across my mind, but I won't be worried about it. Everything I'll do week one I will have done in practice or in a rehab setting, with the exception of the contact, obviously, but I'll be feeling good by September 13th.
So talking to Josh and a few other of the position or guys who were catching passes from you, they said that it was really important for you all to get down in Florida and have those opportunities, kind of get those reps in before training camp started. Why was it important for you to, I guess, coordinate that? And on a more joking note, were you on time to dinner? Because everyone always says you're late to dinner, but when you're coordinating, do you kind of factor that in?
I was late to dinner. I wasn't expecting everyone else to be on time, and everyone else was on time. I was the last one down. But I was coordinating a lot of stuff. All right, I had a lot of things I was getting straight for everybody else. But
that's an excuse I hear right there.
Hey, I mean,
come on now.
You can explain why you might be a hair late to dinner, DJ.
I think I was finishing stuff up on the golf course or something. But I think the time on the field's important. There's 2 workouts and. Got a lot of good work in, but I think the most valuable part of that is the time off the field and being somewhere together, going to dinner, playing golf, riding to and from the workout, hanging out at the hotel. I think that time is just valuable to get to know guys in a setting outside the, our training facility or whatever that is. And, guys were excited to be there. We had a good time, and I think that was valuable.
Again, that is Daniel Jones with us here live, Drop Light Grand Park campus. Day 6 of Colts camp just wrapped up. What's your favorite part in season of Monday through Saturday?
I think every week's different. I think I really enjoy how we game plan here, the team. I think how Shane goes through the week.
So is that coaches, a big Tuesday for you then? Is that
Tuesday's important, but especially later in the week for us. I think Friday and even Saturday, we're still talking about once you have a good grasp of the game plan. You've repped some stuff. You've seen all the plays on defense. You've had a chance to think about it for a few days. Sometimes there's an idea that comes on Friday and Saturday, and you talk through it. And really the best moment about, when you get in the game on Sunday and something comes up that you've talked about, you're ready for it, you have a check, or you have you reminded a receiver to do this if he sees that, or whatever it is. And I think when those moments come into fruition and you realize it worked, or it happened like you thought it might, I think that's the most rewarding part of the process for me.
When you bring up Shane, I was struck by how early last offseason he made it clear that he believed in you. And, here you are in a quarterback competition, and it just seemed like from the early part of the offseason, Shane continued to back you, continued to mention you, continued to talk about you. What, I guess, has Shane meant? And, again, it's only been a year plus, but what has he meant for your career, given where you were at in that crossroads after Minnesota?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, a ton for sure. Very grateful for the opportunity here, and Shane believing in me and giving me a chance to play. I've learned a ton from him, X's and O's wise, and just like his approach, his philosophy, how he wants to be on offense, how he wants the quarterback to play. He's aggressive. He's aggressive. He wants to take the shot. He's dialing up a bunch of game plan plays. He wants to call them. He wants to see him on the field. So that has rubbed off on me pretty quickly when I got here last year, and is a good feeling for a quarterback to feel that confidence, to feel a coach who wants to give you those chances. If it doesn't work, hey, we got another one. If that one doesn't work, we got another one. And you can sense that and you can feel that, and that's a fun way to play quarterback. So. Yeah, very, very grateful for the opportunity here, and him believing in me, him giving me the chance, helping, just communicating and trying to find things that work for both of us and things that he thought I did well. Very, very fortunate to end up here for sure.
Daniel, when you look at just what's kind of transpired over last year, it's been the highest of the highs, probably some lows in there as well. How do you compartmentalize how last season unfolded? You got off to a great start, and then it didn't end how you wanted to. So what do you take away from last year, and then what do you kind of leave behind as you go into a new season?
Yeah, I think you can definitely draw a lot of confidence from the early part of last year. I thought we were playing good football, both sides of the ball. Offensively, I thought we were running it really well. We were throwing it really well. We were a dynamic offense. We were putting up a lot of points, and then we weren't able to carry that through. And I think what you got to learn is like in the NFL, it's about 17 weeks and then into the playoffs, and you've got to be able to sustain it for the entire season. So whether that's staying healthy or whatever, continuing to make plays, winning tough games, coming back, whatever the situation is, you've got to be able to sustain it through the whole season to be successful in the league. And that's nothing new. Everybody knows that, but you've got to do it.
Just a couple of minutes left here with Daniel Jones again live in Westfield. Day 6 of Colts camp just wrapped up. All right, you're running off the field after the win. I want to say it was in L.A. last year over the Chargers. Evan Washburn stops you and chatting on CBS and mentions to you, the surprise at a 6-1 start for the Colts. You responded with, sounds like y'all didn't know. It was a little caught me off guard. I think I had an bleep moment when I heard that. Where do you think that comes from? Like that moment where in an interview setting you are the quarterback, but that seemed to be maybe a little bit of just like, hey, this is maybe the true colors of me, the competitor, coming out here right after the game ended.
I don't know. I think when you're on the field and you're competing, and I've always felt like I'm able to kind of separate the two and compartmentalize them, and I feel like I'm as competitive as anybody. I play with that kind of energy and fire, and maybe I don't always show it, and maybe I don't show it in the post-game press conference all the time.
You can.
But I mean, we're all competing, and I think you demonstrate a lot of that competitiveness and how bad you want it by how hard you're willing to work and how much you're willing to put into it and what you're willing to do that people aren't willing to do. I think there's people who judge, try to judge a mindset based on other things than that, and they don't always understand. So, I think, I don't know. It was just a competitive moment, I guess.
Last one from me, and as much as I'd love to break down golf courses in Central Indiana with you, I won't bore James over the. You should see James's golf swing, by the way.
You should not see it.
Yeah.
Conti's got the footage. So.
Looks like you kicking a field goal if you had been electrocuted before you kicked that field goal. Favorite Indy? Let's go. Favorite just Indy event you've been to? Pacer playoff game, Indy 500, maybe something I'm not even thinking about.
Oh, that's tough. I did go to the Indy 500 last year, and the Pacer finals game, one of the games last year. I think that Pacers finals game to me was just getting to Indy, and not knowing a ton about the sports scene and the culture of the city, and just feeling that energy, feeling the overwhelming just buzz like in the city, but all in that building that night. It was cool for me to witness.
Daniel, I want to just pivot a little bit because I noticed last year you were wearing the Mission 34 cleats during My Calls, My Cleats for your high school teammate, I believe, Sean Bonner. Can you explain what Mission 34 means and how maybe the loss of him or whatever informs your perspective now, life, sports, whatever?
Yeah, I think Mission 34 is an organization started in Charlotte by Sean's parents, and their work is surrounding starting these conversations to similar to kicking the stigma, their motto is a new type of tough. So to start conversations from people, to encourage people to reach out and support one another, and realizing that in a lot of situations that's the tough thing to do, and encouraging people to do that, support one another, and get help when you need it. So it wasn't necessarily something I set out to be a part of, but something that kind of came to me, and I think you realize how serious this stuff is right now in our day and age, and how much good positive progress can be made through these organizations, and Mission 34 does an incredible job in Charlotte and really throughout the country now.
Last one I'll leave you with is, what does it mean? You talk about mental health, perspective, all these things, to be out here at camp, kids are asking for your autograph. A year ago you weren't sure if you're going to be the starting quarterback. To be somewhere, to be loved, and to have an opportunity to go into year 2 fully healthy, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think definitely really, very grateful of the support here of our fans. They're here every day and cheering for us, and it's awesome to feel the support here while we're at practice and throughout town. I felt it living here the past year or so. So very, very grateful and appreciative of our fans here, and feel very grateful to be back out on the field.
Man, I want to see these Jones backyard PVC pipe goalposts.
It's not there anymore.
It's
not there anymore.
The room's still the same?
It was a nice H goalpost,
Okay.
Little sag in the middle, but
I love it. I'm picturing old school NFL films goalposts here in the Jones backyard. Daniel, thanks for the time, man.
All right.
Appreciate you joining us. Stay healthy, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Daniel Jones with us yesterday after Colts practice number 6. So, again, thank you to the Colts for setting that up. Lou Anarumo, Josh Downs, Mo Alley Cox, Tyler Warren, Sauce Gardner, among others. I know Mark has spliced all of those out. And, Mark, a few of them up on YouTube as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Daniel Jones, and, should all be up there.
Awesome. So thank you to everybody. On-site engineer Cam. I hope that video looked good for our YouTube audience as well. All right, let's hit a quick morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
So, James, the Colts training camp schedule now really shifting gears. Off day today, night practice tomorrow. That's 8 to 10 p.m., a legit, highly competitive 2 hours out there. They'll go Saturday and Sunday morning. And then what? Foxborough for a week, a couple more Saturday, Sunday practices, and then 2 joint practices with the Atlanta Falcons starting August 19th and 20th, and that's it.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, a cool opportunity to have the fans out there tomorrow night in Westfield, and I'll be heading out next week to Foxborough to see the first joint practice.
So again, 7 practices left, 1 at night, 4 on the weekend, and then the final joint days coming up Wednesday and Thursday, the 19th and the 20th. Speaking of tomorrow night, the Indiana Fever back in action against the Las Vegas Aces, a slight favorite. And James, this is an important game for the old standings and trying to get some sort of home court in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I think beyond that, Kevin, it's an opportunity for them to show, okay, are you a real championship contender? You had a chance to kind of display that against the Lynx. Thought you played them well. The Aces are right up there in the standings as well. So we'll see how the Fever stack up. And currently they're in 5th place, meaning they're not in place for home court advantage in the first round.
Yeah, I think it's good for him. Jared here on the text line. Anyone without an agenda has to really root for Daniel Jones. Yeah, I would. I think listening to that, it's hard not to root for him. Certainly, given all the injury situations that he has gone through. Major League Baseball yesterday, the trade deadline has come and gone. First off, some big old scores. You had the White Sox getting thrashed by the Red Sox, 14-2. Shout out to the Indianapolis Indians, 14-1 over the Iowa Cubs. Reds over the A's, and Mark Dykton, your Cubs, going for the old sweep of the Dodgers.
Spoiled Tarek Skubal's debut. That was good to see. Cubs looking good. The ass man, Javier Assad, dealing yesterday, so that was good to see as well.
Did you say the ass man?
Yeah, the ass man, Assad, ass man. That's his nickname in Cubs fandom. So yeah.
I thought that's what they were calling you when you were running to the bathroom the other week. Now, was this Taco Bell related?
No. Keep the slander of Taco Bell. They would never do me wrong like that. No, this is self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Are you going to share this on air or what?
I don't know if I can, quite honestly. Let's just say...
Dang, it's that bad?
Let's just say...
He said Ashley was ashamed of him.
Well, listen, I'm a gentleman. I live in a house full of women. So when the bathrooms are occupied...
Oh, Lord.
And I have to go...
Lord.
No way.
No.
Stop it.
You have 2 bathrooms. Figure it out.
I have a third. It's called nature.
Okay. That's all I need to hear.
Wait, 1 or 2?
No way.
I mean, 1.
No way.
I'm not that worried about it.
2 is crazy.
2 is absurd.
This was after this was after my uncle's golf outing, so some adult pops had been consumed as Ashley drove home, and the stomach started rumbling a little bit, and I'm like, I think we're in trouble here, and I was like, the other bathrooms were occupied because Ashley wasn't feeling too good, and one of the other ones was going to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna be a gentleman. This ain't,
no way.
This ain't gonna be held.
I'm never gonna be that much of a gentleman. I'm sorry.
That backyard's looking awfully intriguing.
Oh my God.
The lights are out. This is me in nature.
I think my favorite part of everything you just said was, I'm gonna be a gentleman.
Yeah. Gentleman move.
I'm not that gentlemanly.
So
Sorry.
then did you act like you were a dog and then, go inside and get the CVS bag and pick it up?
It was cleaned up. Ashley's like, why is the car not unpacked? What were you doing out there? I'm like, I was doing something. She's like, I don't want to know. And she found out the next day and she's like, why? She's like, I could have left the bathroom. I'm like, I didn't want to chance that. It's okay.
Chance that? Just ask. Hey,
gentlemen.
Lovely wife of mine.
I mean,
I've known you for a
you have
long
a
time.
9, 7, and 5-year-old. It's not like they're going to be in the bathroom for an hour.
Right.
This isn't a fraternity.
I even 30 seconds would have been too long.
Jeez.
Dear Lord.
Don't stop eating that Taco Bell. I told you about eating that Taco Bell. That Taco Bell and that lettuce got you. I told you.
You've now totally interrupted the morning checkdown. Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
Do you have that much privacy from your neighbors?
Oh yeah. We got giant trees. We got a couple giant trees. We're good.
Yeah, he's gonna be on somebody's Ring camera tomorrow.
Oh my God.
That was, if I see the spotlight go on, that was my exit strategy. Was just duck behind a tree. But no, we were good.
That's top 5 most absurd things I've ever heard.
What?
Especially because I know you.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Again,
freaking believe. I feel like
we should all know less about each other.
Well, that one takes the cake.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let's get us back on track.
All right,
here.
first practice today for Kurt Signet and the Hoosiers. Fall camp underway. They're 6th in the coaches poll. The top 5 teams all bringing back their quarterbacks from last season. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame. And then you have Indiana, Miami, Texas A&M. I believe it's Oklahoma and Ole Miss rounding out your top 10. Sounds like Purdue has an... I can't believe it, Mark. Unbelievable. Sounds like Purdue has a new athletic director. Lord knows we won't be getting him on the show anytime soon after people just heard that segment.
Fertilize your lawn, folks. It's that time of year. Got to make sure that grass is growing.
So, girls, when you jump off the monkey bars, don't land there. That's where Dad decided to deposit
I
a
just
few
don't
things.
understand Mark Dykton.
Listen, we were just talking in the break, James. I'm on the road quite often. There's plenty of times where I've had to go to the bathroom in situations that didn't necessarily have doors or anything like that. It just happened. It's
BK
life.
from Connorsville, bro, no way, man. I agree.
If you're a grown man and you haven't found yourself in a situation like that before.
No.
Come on. You're
No,
lying
don't
to yourself.
try to lump me in with that.
Mark, I have a short bladder. I have certainly gone number one in many, many different places over my 36 years on this earth. But number two, no.
Oh, come on. But it's coming then. Old age is going to start creeping up. And you're going to be like, wow, this is a lot more dire than I thought.
He's trying to spin this as like this is normal.
It's not normal, but it has happened
It's
from time
absurd.
to time.
You uttered the phrase, I decided to be a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman. Just doing my fatherly and husbandly duties of leaving the bathroom alone.
Will you please give us a weather update and somehow ask us a normal Colts question on the other side?
I'll do my best.
Sunny skies, and it will be slightly more humid with a high near 86 degrees. Tonight, increase in cloud cover with a chance for spotty showers and a low near 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, on a day where we played our interview with the Colts starting quarterback Daniel Jones, we kind of let off the show with this. I can't recall the last time that we have chatted in an interview setting with a Colts starting quarterback, period. And we did that yesterday for about 15 minutes. That will be up on the podcast. We have that end of the spectrum, and we have the other end of the spectrum, James Boyd, where Mark Dykton just announced he went poop in his backyard.
Yeah, we have this here from Ben. Did you wipe with a leaf?
No, I brought a roll with me. I always keep spare rolls around. It was good to go.
Just not man enough to say, hey, excuse me, girls, wife, I might need to use the bathroom for 5 minutes.
No, it takes longer than 5. Five is.
Well, I mean, you sound like you couldn't wait.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
From BK, this dude grabbed a handful of leaves and said, Mama raised a gentleman.
That's right. Always a gentleman. I took their comfort over mine all the time.
Like, you trying to justify it is maybe one of the wilder parts about it.
What do you mean? Justify?
Just tell one of the girls to get out of the bathroom. They're not going to be in there for more than 5 seconds.
Listen, it wasn't the first time. It ain't going to be the last time.
Whoa. It needs to be the last. This is an intervention, brother. It needs to be the last time.
Sometimes you're driving and there's just not a bathroom around. You just got to make do.
Have you ever heard of a rest stop, brother?
Yes. There's been long stretches of road where there's no rest stops and all that. So it's either pull off
never
on the
been-
shoulder
I
or
ain't never.
whatever.
And I've taken my fair share of long car rides. I have never been in the car long enough where there's just no gas station, no food, no rest. I mean, what kind of roads are you driving on?
Oh, boy. A lot of them. A lot of them.
See, like people, Tony here. Hey, Mark is a taxi driver. I feel your pain. I've had several close calls. There's a difference between close call and literally going in the comfort of your own backyard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you have two indoor plumbing bathrooms functioning and you have 3 daughters, Rosie Bowen has not spent more than 2 minutes in the bathroom in her life.
Am I supposed to, Nora, just toss her, over the shoulder?
Yes.
Shot
if
put her?
it's that urgent. Derek, I've
Wait.
crapped in the woods a few times in the Army.
See?
That's in the Army and in the woods. This man went in suburbia backyard. Brownsburg just went down the list of places to
Where do you think
live.
they got the name Brownsburg from, man?
my
What are we
gosh.
talking about? You're picking up grass clippings last year at training camp. Let's just say pick up those grass clippings.
Hey, KB, if you're ever invited over, don't you go in the backyard.
Watch your step.
When we had a dog growing up, I just remember how humbling it was when you just had to put that bag, reverse it inside out, and you got right down there to pick up that
I think that's why I will never have a dog.
We used to have the pooper scooper, but that thing I felt like would, kind of dig in the ground. I feel like I was getting a divot out at times.
Yeah, I don't think I'm picking up any poop. Mm-mm.
Mark,
Wait
that's
till you become a father, James. You've been picking up a lot of stuff.
absolutely ridiculous, Mark.
That's probably
What?
true.
I see nothing wrong.
There's zero justification for it whatsoever.
I think we're just fine.
Is Jake Query here?
No, not yet.
John S., I am going to throw up in the yard? Yes.
It had to be done.
BK from Connorsville, you were home, no excuse.
It's one thing to be in the driveway. In the house is a different story. You have to go up some stairs and all that. There's
Lord.
times and things couldn't be happening. You want me to get my Colts question of the day? Should we pivot the
Yes,
conversation?
we should definitely pivot the
Dear
conversation.
Lord, man.
Okay. Been sitting on this one for a little bit.
Yeah,
I was doing
clearly.
some, I was doing
I'm
some
about to
thinking
say,
in my
you might-
yard.
Thing you've
Might
been
wanna
sitting on
stand
for a
up a
little
little
bit.
bit.
I was
man.
doing some thinking in
And
my
you guys
yard
thought
the
my
other day.
analogy about Daniel Jones
You
running.
started this.
running.
You put that bug in his head to even bring this up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's on me.
Anyway, the Colts lost their top tacklers in the offseason, Zaire Franklin, Nick Cross. My question to you guys, who is going to lead the Colts defense in tackles in the year of our Lord 2026?
I know your HOA is going to be leading it in neighborhood complaints from what's happened in the Dykton backyard.
Lord.
That's actually a pretty good question. Who's going to lead them in tackles?
Ooh.
I mean, I would assume it's C.J. Allen. James, we're 6 practices in at camp. They're not giving C.J. Allen all the reps.
No. They're actually rotating the linebackers a lot.
It just has me a little curious.
Yeah, that's true. So if you're going C.J. Allen, I'll go little dark horse candidate, Bryce Betcher. He's been getting some run with the first string. He also led the Big Ten in tackles last year. I want to say he had 130 plus at Oregon. So that's a good question. And I think it speaks to, Mark, just how much production you lost. Now, we can argue about, hey, should they have moved on from Zaire Franklin or Nick Cross or whoever? But the bottom line is those guys were proven commodities. And now you're relying on a few guys with this defense, this new look defense, who haven't proven themselves at this level at all.
Somebody just sent me a picture. I don't know if it's AI or if it's real. James Boyd.
Oh my gosh.
What the hell?
Okay. Yeah, that's probably not safe for work.
I don't know if I'm allowed to show
Why'd
that.
you say
Yeah,
that?
I was going to say, don't put that up to the camera.
YouTube stream there. We have Mark Dighton literally going number 2.
Boy, who typed that into the AI?
Yeah, see, the
some
person who
fresh
did that
water
might
got
be
used
more
for that.
Yeah.
Thank you to Preston. Yeah, this could be a good Dude Wipes sponsorship.
You know
Dude
what he
Wipes,
needs?
come on.
KB, he needs one of those showers in a bag.
Yeah,
You know what? I should have had that handy. That would have come in good.
He might
I don't
need
know how
about
to
5
reuse
of
that
them,
one.
though.
though.
Yeah.
Thank you to listener Zach. You might need about 5 of them.
Zach, he needs, is there such thing as like, poop in a bag or something like that? Because this is what this guy needs. Jeez. Mark, I just can't believe you.
Believe it. Like I said, I mean, there's been times when you have to go and the bathroom's like
And the
shut
pride
down.
in which you tell us these things.
It's not pride. It's just, as a former Boy Scout, they say be prepared. I was prepared. I knew where I had to go. I knew the mission.
The man
It
has
was
time to go get a toilet paper tissue roll,
Mark,
walk
there's
outside.
No. Toilet paper was in the garage. I always put one aside just in case. You never know.
There is zero justification. Zero justification for what you did.
I think I feel totally comfortable with my decision.
Are you in a general vicinity where the girls play in the backyard?
No. This is way back. Like you would have had to have like quite the
The
spotlight
fact
to
that
find
it's
me.
in your backyard
you
is
put up-
insane.
I think I scared a rabbit when I went back there.
Did you put up an orange cone? Do we have caution tape around it?
You try not to. You're trying to blend into the woods. You're not
Did
trying
it
to
rain that
draw
night?
attention. I hope not.
I mean, I knew it was going to be something dicey, James, when he was, he was very.
It's always dicey with him.
He was very hesitant in the 8 o'clock hour to tell us. So I knew it was something.
And you egged him on.
I mean, I did, but honestly, it was just the curious nature in me.
I'll never be that curious again.
You want some curious nature? Come to my backyard.
Lord have mercy.
What is that?
Oh
What part of
my
the tree is
God.
that?
Unbelievable.
Is that a root?
If you see Jake Query, flag him down. Gosh, and I think I teased the 9 o'clock hour. I was like, we got a lot to get to in the 9 o'clock hour. Daniel
Derailed.
Jones interview, couple of takeaways from Colts camp. Hey, Mark's Colts question of the day. And now I can't stop thinking about
Aren't you guys glad you're back in studio?
unfreaking.
No,
You
I need
missed
to-
this.
I need to just
You were
distance
you were
myself
missing
from
this.
Fan Morning Show, one final time. Thank the Lord.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm James Boyd, of course, joined by Kevin Bowen, who is currently probably in the bathroom like he should be, Mark Dykton. And
he's got facilities available.
You know, I'm just glad that Kevin, I assume, did not go outside to do any of his business there during the break.
Just peed in the urinal.
Normal human being things?
Walked the second floor here at our beautiful building. Jake Query was in with our boss. I said, we need you. I don't know if I've ever told my boss that. You know, you need to stop your meeting. We need that man in the studio right now.
Has he obliged? I don't see him.
He said he would be right there.
He probably is very excited to know what this is about.
Did somebody really say that Jake's going to be talking about this for 4 hours, even though the show is only for 3? Jake, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen, heard, witnessed in your life?
Would you like me to say that on the air?
Well, I mean, as you know, I don't want to get in trouble.
Freshman year of college, I was a pledge in a fraternity. As the hazing incident, they lined up 32 of us. Everybody had to chug until they puked into a bucket. Last guy had to drink the bucket.
Boy, that is up there.
That's disgusting.
James, anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't know what I expected.
Asked.
What
you
answer
asked.
Jake, you live in an apartment, correct?
That's correct.
If you lived in a home, and let's say the bathrooms were potentially occupied.
Oh, boy.
And you needed to go. And to be clear, you needed to go numero dos.
Okay.
Would you venture out to the backyard?
Have I potentially had some of the contaminated lettuce? Is this like an urgent situation or just a...
No, you're being a gentleman.
Taco Bell is not involved in any way, shape, or form.
It's urgent enough, I would say.
No, you're being a
the
premise of it is you being a gentleman.
Allow me to ask this, if I may. In this hypothetical, is there perspiration involved by having to delay the process? Is it leading to perspiration and or potential panic?
Not to be shown.
I would say so.
Or reposted in the YouTube chat, but the excuse that the person you're looking at in that photo, AI generated, said he had to do this because he was being a gentleman.
Mark Dykton went poop in his backyard.
Because he was being a gentleman.
Dykton, how big is your backyard?
About a half acre.
Is it relatively secluded? Were you in a location where people could not find you?
Correct.
No, I mean, Jake, let's not try to justify this in any way, shape, or form. You tell your daughter, sweetie, move over for just a second.
Listen, we're trying to have the potty training go all the way through. I'm not trying to derail
all of your girls
her
are potty
progress.
Have you ever camped, Kevin?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but again, going in the woods and going in your backyard. Do you know what this is going to do to Brownsburg's ability to try to attract people to their town?
How do you think it got its name? Now, look, I don't condone it, but at the same time, as somebody who has occasionally had challenges within my digestive tract, I can understand where Dykton's coming from.
Oh, my, stop.
Thank you,
do
Jake.
not mean that.
I knew it.
There's no way.
You know, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. Dykton doing that is far less egregious as you showing me a picture of it and having it on your phone. That, to me, is the bigger oddity.
And didn't you fish out like $10 sunglasses from a porta potty before at Colts training camp?
Yeah, I never have literally taken a dump in
Hold
my
on,
own
hold on,
backyard
hold on,
in broad daylight and then wiped my you-know-what with leaves and pine cones.
Whoa, hang on. You fished something out of a portalet, Kevin?
Now it's becoming a pile on
we
for
buried
Kevin.
the lead here.
Oh, man.
You did or didn't?
KB, I'm on your side, brother.
I did prescription sunglasses, and
This
I'm not
is like
ashamed of
Al
that at all.
Cowlings getting on people for slowing down traffic. No, you if you fish something out of a portalet, I'm not condoning Mark Dighton. I'm not excusing him per se.
He said he was being a gentleman by going in his backyard.
I do think that there
Can
is
you
a more.
imagine painting your fence next door and all of a sudden you look over and you see
Can you
that?
imagine having a right arm that looks like a Smurf because you dug into a portalet for a $10 pair of sunglasses?
Oh, it was just like little tweezer tongs.
But then you put them on again, right?
Oh, I washed them thoroughly.
No. I got
But they're
news for you.
prescription sunglasses. You wouldn't go get your prescription sunglasses?
No.
So you just can't see for the rest
They
of the
have
day.
a warranty?
Would you get your cell phone?
No.
You would leave
No,
your cell
I
phone
would definitely
there.
get my phone. I'm not gonna lie. Phone. I
In a
probably gotta get the
portalet?
phone.
Yes.
I got news for you. That's a vortex vacuum of the never-ending abyss.
What if it's floating up top? Maybe it hasn't really hit everything else.
No, just telling you.
Dang,
I've been
KB,
told
you're
that Kevin-
kind of
Kevin-
losing the
better
argument
question
here.
is this. The better question is this. I know that we're no longer at Colts camp, but where was the show headed where this little confession came out?
It's funny.
Well,
you say
he
that.
started off. He started it.
I was describing Daniel Jones as running right now. It doesn't look like he's Mark Dighton running to his backyard, but it looks like, hey, I could probably afford to go to the bathroom before
That
we
was the
head
analogy
outside.
he used.
That was the analogy. Jake is someone that's a very descriptive talker like you are. I think you would appreciate me
Okay.
describing Daniel Jones in that light.
Okay, fair.
And the next thing you know, Mark Dyson goes, and he started kind of just like cackling back there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's like, guys, I got to
I actually thought the photo you showed me not was representative of discussing Daniel Jones's mobility, but rather the photo you showed me looked like Anthony Richardson trying to take a shotgun snap. That's what that photo looked like.
That is so true right now. Man, it's bad.
It's
bad.
rough. It's rough.
Well,
Mark, I can't condone it, brother. I appreciate you sharing it,
Mark,
but no, there's zero justification.
I've never been more thrilled than to come back into studio
right.
for this conversation.
I said you guys missed me. This is what you guys are missing.
Okay.
This from KBia. Yeah, glasses out of the toilet is worse, but Mark's is funnier.
Oh, stop that.
Yes.
I co-sign that.
If anything we've learned from this show, I'm the most normal person on it. Thank you.
We'll talk to you tomorrow. Please turn us back on
Okay,
tomorrow.
Will we? Hopefully.
Please turn us back on tomorrow.